Hi, Craig. Some quick orders of business before we get into recap. I thought I said it last session, but now that it's becoming more relevant, I just want to make sure. Um, Fish was in this kind of avoidant place where they weren't really talking to a lot of people, but they mostly weren't talking to Cal specifically. We discussed there being this kind of thing about how it's a lot easier to kind of lie about how you're doing in phone calls and letters when somebody's on the other side of the world. So we thought they were in pretty regular communication with May and Metal to a certain extent, and yeah, just kind of like lying about doing good. Um, Now, last
No, I'm
session.
not just hanging out in the woods with the ghost memories of my dead family.
That's only most of what you're doing.
No, I'm getting bitches everywhere.
That is true. Good. Canonically, Fish has gotten a couple bitches in very in the gender neutral way in very short term relationships, kind of going from town to town. But yes, nothing kind of permanent to fill the hole. So, um, yes. So, last time on the premiere of season 2 of Well Dressed Bones, we caught up with our characters after a 2 year time skip. Um, Fish had been somewhat isolated, as well as training to being finally accepted fully into their culture and sort of their realm of their dad and their connection to their dad. And this had um, less to do with Fish's godly father wanting them, and more to do with Fish kind of feeling a disconnect, a lingering disconnect, like they didn't really belong. Um, but after finding this sense of belonging, Fish's powers increased, and they were assigned a mission as Lady Inari came to the ceremony to call in the favor that had connected Fish and their dad those years ago. Fish is required to find out what happened to and track down Lady Inari's godly brother, who has disappeared and possibly died somewhere in Korea. Um, and there were specific instructions about like where to go and who to talk to that we'll get to when it's relevant. Um, uh, Due to this, Fish decided it was best to get the band back together and start heading out on the next adventure. First, stopping in on Cal. Caligulus has spent 2 years building her temple from a empty, uninhabitable cave to a kind of small and poor temple, but still a functioning one that is sort of honestly pretty rapidly gaining power and influence and new members. And Cal is seemingly working herself to death to keep up with the challenges of that. Um, some old friends have been incorporated into this temple, Cleric Beliala, for example, but also Jamal, who is now an initiate in the temple, a acolyte, uh, seemingly not having a lot of necessarily care for the religion, but is there for Cal and has been invaluable as a administrator and manager of the new temple, um, as well as some fun new characters. Um, Caligulus was approached by Cleric Solomon Reith, representing the a like sort of loose association of the more progressive temples, specifically in Europe, and was sort of making overtures to uh, join them, as well as warning about some potential dangers um, in the uh, in the world befalling necromancers and necromancer adjacent people, specifically signs regarding a old necromantic symbol that's pretty important to the religion, showing up in non-necromantic areas, mostly Asia, as well as a slew of killings of a very strange nature that seem to be in some of the same places as the symbol appearing, and mostly with sort of heretical temples like Elise's, and is possibly related to Sinner's brush with death 2 years ago. After picking up Cal and taking transportation to be determined, um, Fish and Cal flew to Sudan, where May had found herself after a long time working first in Canada, then traveling to England, and then to Egypt, and finally Sudan in order to sort of pursue her twin missions here, the mission of continuing her career as an archaeologist, in this case both as a magical archaeologist for the ancients as well as a mortal archaeologist with that expertise, but also to keep an eye out for ancient sites and potential other labs of the root warden, potential other places where dangerous ancient artifacts may be coming close to the surface for others to grab. Of course, with the knowledge and fear that Jonas has a artifact detector of some kind that he stole, and maybe invisible competition. Um, During this time, Sinner has become the primary personal bodyguard of the Prime Minister of Sudan as it navigates its independence process and becoming its own country, separate from its colonial powers for the first time, as well as some new people sort of interested in her dig, and a new organization, the Maharu, that is a popular sort of mysticism secret society social club that has taken the British by storm and is therefore also going through a lot of their colonies and former colonies, focused on ancient Egyptian mysticism in a kind of way that isn't actually historically accurate or respectful of Egyptian mythology or power. And we left off with Cal and Fish arriving at the dig site. I think first things first, if there's anything you want to cover in kind of the lead up to the two of them leaving the temple, you know, that sort of invisible time, and then figuring out how the hell you got to Sudan.
I had a lot of fun ideas for ways for fish to be just fucking with Reef, but I don't think we don't look. That's going to be half an hour. No, it doesn't have to be.
You have to
Just
give me the condensed version.
Yeah.
okay.
We gotta send the
Alright.
clip to Georgia.
Exactly.
All right.
That's
Well,
how
I
we're
was
building our fan
Fish is outside, like having one of their 15 cigarettes a day that they have to have.
Mhm.
That's what I rolled, so they have to have it.
Correct.
And like Wreath comes out, and Fish sees, and it's like, okay, well now I can come back in. Wreath, I don't know, fucking just says something passingly, and I thought that Fish would be like, oh, and a Natura Lura to you as well.
Oh, I was Wreath is obviously a background character who is going to like kind of dip from the narrative for a while and then come back and dip and come back. I do want him to be in much more now, just because I know Fish would annoy him so much. Or cleric snapper, as he now
Yes,
believes fish to
that's
be.
that is very much how fish introduces themselves. From the temple of the sacred carp, which you forgot. The temple of the many fishes. Oh please, the sacred carp. Come on now.
I think that's in
Um,
character for Rocky, though. He was just like, hey,
sure.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. There's a person
Yes.
here. They said something.
Something fish. I was like, who is this?
Something fishes. Yes. Um.
That was my idea. That's it.
Yeah.
And that fish greeted Jamal politely. Like came down and gave him a firm handshake and was like, "Hey, I'm so sorry, I was immature. These like back in the old days. I'm so not
And I
like that right now."
and I will continue to be in the future. But yes, you are the two of you are in the temple. Jamal, yeah, perhaps seems a little anxious, but also a little superior. You've been gone for 2 years. Well, he's been here, so he won. Um, and
One what?
nothing. He's not saying this. It's just the attitude.
Yeah, yeah.
um, as yeah, as you spend some time in Cal's new temple, there is a lot of nooks and crannies to explore. A lot of weird little caves that you can uh, split off and duck into. You can see the pool that you fixed, which is no longer green but still full of bones. Uh, and yes, the Cal's temple is not in a great way. It, especially after seeing her at the sanctuary with all of its funding, this is clearly a little bit meaner class of living, and beds aren't particularly comfortable, rooms are a little cold, things like that. But she's surviving and seems to be expanding. There's honestly too much work for her or any of the others to do combined. Everybody seems very busy all the time. Um, Cal, most of all, because I don't think there is a single time you have seen her where you have gotten her undivided attention, even with being annoying, because she always has someone at her elbow handing her paperwork or signing things or taking a call. It's a lot, and maybe that pushes you to be a little bit more annoying or transgressive than usual, because God, it's hard when people don't pay attention to you.
It is. Where's Jamal now?
Would Cal have given Jamal the research assignment after immediately after Reith left, or would have there been, would have been like as you were leaving kind of thing?
uh, I think what I wanted to establish is that the first thing, something that happens probably within the first few hours, is that Cal goes from like being like, you've got 48 hours, the time is, you've got 48 hours, I'm trying to figure out the transportation, but I can only spare so much. And then at some point she does look at a calendar and then her like schedule, and then very bizarrely goes up to Fish and Jamal and um tells people instead that she's going to be gone for about 5 days from the approximately, like let's say like the 15th to the 21st or something like that, and does not explain why. She just suddenly changes her tune about that. And yeah, at some point she is giving out her assignments, and she'd tell Jamal to do research on Korea, both in mythology and gods, and um, uh, also modern Korean, kind of how she would best go unnoticed in current fashion trends. Um,
Mm-hmm.
so our I am blanking on her name, but our goddess is Japanese, right?
Yes, this is a Japanese goddess who, in describing it to Fish, uh, I don't know that Fish has necessarily told you this information in this way, but seems to kind of be like, my brother is like also a Korean god, or is like the manifestation of this Korean god, and I am not. I am like
Mhm.
something lesser in Korea, and that's why I need to like have someone else go and figure this out for me.
If Fish shared that, then she would also add minor research in Japanese gods, but only if Fish shared that.
Uh, Fish, yes, has indicated that they're in contact with this Japanese god, but has not yet given further details as to when or why this happened.
Yeah, I think just knowing that it's a Japanese god, she'd be like, minor addendum, just briefly look over that for me as
Yep.
well. But I
Mhm.
think Jamal would be busy, but I don't think she'd necessarily like. I don't think she would necessarily lock him off of being like just be studying 24/7. Like I think she would be open to him still socializing, especially because she probably clocks it. Jamal feels comfortable in a way around Fish that she was surprised by. So I think if it was a thing of like hypothetically a situation where she saw Fish walking into the library, she'd just be like rolling her eyes and letting it happen instead of being
Yeah.
like, let my researcher work.
Jamal is
Mm-hmm.
also at this point kind of too important to the functioning of the temple to be just like research mode 24/7. You know, he's got to jump back and forth between other things. So yes, you do probably find Jamal in a cave off to the side that has been retrofitted into a library. It is right by a series of vents that reduce the humidity here. But as you come in, you can see that about half of this room is sort of like roughly but very competently put together bookshelves with very neat books and paperwork and stuff like that. And the rest of it is just kind of like boxes with like mold growing on it and like water damage and things like this. And you see Jamal is kind of like set up at the research desk and is sorting through seemingly damaged books and repairing them. He's got a large stack of book backing board and thread, and glue pots, and things like that, and is sort of repairing these books while at the same time researching them and writing down notes about what he finds.
Okay. Fish walks on in, uh, standing tall and confident, um, and spies Jamal doing this, and goes, "Oh, Mr. Tractate, I'm so sorry to bother you."
As you're walking in, he's just kind of like, yes, just if you'll hold on a minute. Oh, hello, fish.
Oh,
Good, good
oh,
to see you again.
you remember me? Oh, I didn't think you would. That's really. I'm flattered. It's great to see you, Mr. Tractate. It has been a while, hasn't it?
Yes, it's been a long while since you uh, visited this temple at all. I think we were just really just starting out the last time you stayed a while.
Yeah, it was. I wish I could have done more, but life gets up to you, and but been busy with my own stuff. How are you? I have been wondering about you.
Oh, I mean, I think I'm doing uh, pretty well. Everything's
You look
going
it.
pretty good. A lot of work, obviously, kind of like gestures to the room, but things are coming along. You know, got to save money where we can.
Well, I look how far you've come, and you're doing a great job with the place. I could roll a deception at any time if you want me to.
Yeah, I mean,
Uh,
if you're just like straight up lying to be polite, go ahead.
uh,
You can
what
also do like an investigation check or something to try to be like, why is he in this dirty hole?
no.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, you're doing great with the place, and like I said, you look good, and I hardly remember anything that was going on back in the day at the sanctuary, but I do remember that I was going through a rough period, and so I was a bit immature, and I wanted to apologize for that and kind of start anew with you here.
Oh, well, thank you, Fish. That's very it's very nice of you. Apology accepted.
To be respectful to Cleric Denier, I will be going by my necromancer pseudonym while I'm here. That is Cleric Snapper.
Oh, um, sure. Uh, my understanding, having been in the faith for a little bit, is claiming a kind of a cleric status when you haven't actually earned it and gone through the proper ceremonies is kind of a big deal to them. I'm actually an acolyte of this temple because I have
Good
been
for you.
Yeah, I've been initiated, but I haven't taken the. I haven't reached a point magically or studiously where I can be a cleric tractate. Yes, of course I can call you acolyte snapper if you'd like.
Well, you would know much better than I. It's just as I say, more than anything, I want to be respectful to uh, Cleric Denier, and you would
Good.
know all about that.
Being respectful to Collisionist Denier, yes, I would know all about that. Well, thanks for stopping by, Fish. Relax, enjoy your time here, however long it lasts, and let me know if there's anything I can help you with. You're in room 4B, it looks like. Yeah, enjoy that.
I will, and I'll see you around. Maybe we can go out, get a drink sometime. If you're too busy, I totally understand. Not meaning to impose myself on you. I'm just glad to see you after all this time. Put it there. Handshake.
Give me a persuasion check, please.
14.
14. Uh, he pauses for just a moment, uh, looking at your hand before reaching out and grabbing it and saying, um, "It's not really my thing so much, but there is a bar in town that apparently is pretty popular. If you wanna go there,
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Tractate. Acolyte Tractate.
thank you, acolyte snapper." Is there anything else I can help you with? Any research or anything like that? Our library is still up and coming, but we have this as well as some other miscellaneous books and records that are unsorted so far. Uh, Anything I can help you with?
No, just seeing your lovely face has been help enough. I'm glad you're well.
Yeah, I'm I'm glad you're well too, Fish. I mean, sorry, acolyte snapper.
Yeah, wink. Um, and the standing there kind of awkwardly for a second to be like, and now am I going to say something horrible and inflammatory? Not yet. All right, see ya.
He's shaking your hand, and after he's kind of like dismissed you, because like in the sanctuary, the like archive was his domain as much as it was anyone's, and yet it never felt like a sense of like power or purpose there. You never felt like you were intruding on his space. This kind of feels like his space, this little kind of rundown library that he's building. So when he's
Mhm.
like, "Yeah, good, um, I hope you're well. Everything's good. Shakes your hand. Just kind of like sits back at the table and goes back to work. And it's just kind of yep. Take care. I'm just like a little more confident in this space than you're kind of used to. So it's like, gonna be nasty. He's kind of ignoring me. Okay.
Yep. This was an information intel gathering mission,
Mm-hmm.
so that we may best attack at a later time.
Yep. Makes sense.
But yeah, Fish keeps up the Mister or Acolyte tractate bit.
Excellent. And you go and find Cal and try and figure out those things, or do you sort of explore more, meet other people, things like that?
Really, they're just having a walk around. They've left Kakano with Cal to catch up. But yeah, they spend their first day being like, here's all the stuff. Oh, there's the pull that I did, and there's the drip that's still there. Oh, maybe even a new one. Oh, exciting. And hey Belly, the everything. And yep, just chilling, and then go to Cal for as she requires.
You run into Peliala in the hallways, who is nose down, kind of reading a book, able to do like the text and walking expert of like perfectly weaving around people and cutting through traffic without ever looking up. So like, oh, hey, Belly, stop. Hello, fish.
You seem well.
You also seem alive and well.
Thank you. I am.
Kekano is not with you.
No, he's with Denya right now. They're catching up. They're close.
Yes, of course. This was a good interaction. Opens up the book and walks on.
Here's the thing. Fish genuinely likes Beliella and doesn't want and doesn't
Beliella seems
to push
genuinely like you. It's just kind of bizarre. Yeah.
Yeah, so Fish really is remembers her as oh, I saved your life, you saved mine, we're you and I were tight.
We're buddies.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it definitely seems like, especially because you haven't gone out of your way to annoy Beliala. Beliala seems to like you and be totally fine with Fish. Even just like stopping and closing the book and talking is like, yes, this is my friend that I'm interacting with.
Yep. Fish is good for her, actually.
That's the new ship, maybe. Oh, Cal would kill you.
I feel like she's way too ace and aromantic and just not on the. And Fish would be like, yeah, fucking go for it, or don't go for it. I love it. Yeah.
You're amazing. Keep giving us nothing.
Yes. Yes, girl, give us nothing.
Yeah, and eventually you find Cal. Where is Cal right now? What she's working on? Said she was catching up with Kakano.
I think Kekno has been talking non-stop about everything that has happened in the especially last 5 months, but like anything also that he's like recapping that she already knew from the last 2 years. So she usually would just straight up ignore this or try to do paperwork, but she wants to pay some attention to Kekano, and it's too hard to do paperwork while Kekano is yapping. So she switched to sewing, and she's going through her like big like to be sewn pile, which has like dresses that have a rip because Rico got to them, and then like she gets through her like work in progress pile, and then she starts working on the big like techno poo, so he's also getting fitted for that. Make sure the weight distribution is good.
Mm-hmm. Cleanliness,
Uh,
and then after I ate
Fish
the
left
bug.
the Fish left the safe the his new harness so that Cal could inspect it.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. All right. Then, as has been dropped off with you is a pink harness with a little patch that says "Service Dog" on the side and a handle for picking up Kekino. And you can examine it. You can tell it's very obviously magical, although you don't have the expertise to know like what kind of magic. But yeah, Kekano is just yapping. It's like, and then I ate the bug, and then later I burped, and the bug flew out, and it was totally whole. I don't know how that happened. It was crazy.
Did you? I mean, I'm sure you didn't chew. You just opened your mouth, and
No,
then
I
the
just
bug.
went ow,
That's not
and
how
then
you. That's not
and
how you eat things,
then it flied out.
my love. That's not how you eat things.
Well, I don't really need to eat. So sometimes it's for the flavor, or in this case, because it was flying around my face and it was really annoying. And Dad was trying to tell me about words in our language, and I was having trouble paying attention because there was this fly in my face, and that's not good and annoying. And so I had to eat him.
You need to be more respectful of bugs, though. They're not trying to be annoying, and they don't want to be in your mouth. So you have to be respectful of their space,
Well,
and they
Caligulus,
live.
it turns out that if I eat them, if I put them in my mouth, they're out of the way, and then they're fine after.
Well, sure, they
I can
only
just
have a
store them
very
in my
short.
mouth.
No, some of them have very short lives. Some of them only live, a few hours or a few days. You don't want to be limiting their life to be inside your mouth where there's no flowers or plants or anything of the sort.
You don't think I would be a good bug house?
No, I don't think so. Not for a long
Okay.
time. Maybe a
Okay.
short while if you wanted to transport them somewhere that might be safer for them, or uh,
Okay. I will try to only eat bugs if they're the kind that live for a long time or I'm taking them to a new place.
yes, I think that's a good compromise.
He is doing the cat thing of like kind of nuzzling your hand while you're trying to work, of being like, I'm talking to you and that's not enough attention.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Cal will just be like,
That was Fish knocking, by the way.
"Oh, okay." Um, she's still sewing, occasionally giving Kakano a scritch to satisfy him, and she goes, "Who is it?"
It is Fish.
It's Dad.
Oh, and then she'll like raise a hand, undo the shadow lock, and she goes, "Enter."
Dad, I'm in
Uh,
here.
they come in. They've already got an unlit cigarette in their mouth. And they're like, "Hey, you got a light in here?"
I think she turns to look at them, sees the cigarette, and goes, "Absolutely not."
Dad. Dad.
Do you know where I
Dad.
can get one?
Leaving this temple.
Dad, you
Oh, come on,
remember what
Daniel. You're not gonna
Metal
make me do
said?
that.
You remember what Metal said when we were at that party? You shouldn't smoke the cigarettes underground. Underground is bad place for the smoke. Gotta go
Yeah,
outside.
she said that, but like there are lots of things that she says that she doesn't mean, and like there are lots of things that she thinks that she doesn't say, and so like kind of how can you be sure with Metal? Danielle,
That
you're
may
really not
be
going to make me.
that may be
You're really not
true.
going to. You're really not going to make me go outside to smoke. I do this. I do this a lot.
I think Cal's.
Dad
I
does do this a lot.
I think Cal was absolutely thinking this was a bit to fuck with her because that was 100% a character, and is absolutely being like, "Oh yeah, you can have your fake fucking unlit cigarette in here, fucking Augustus Waters, and
I just
then
chew the tobacco. I just gnaw on the unlit cigarette.
Kekano goes, they do this a lot," and then she goes,
Yeah, Dad does this a lot.
Just like 2 weeks ago, we were in a restaurant and a lot of people were smoking. It wasn't just Dad that was smoking, but we were in a restaurant and then Dad started on a different cigarette while he was smoking this cigarette, and he lit it from the table lantern, and he got like it was like swinging over, and he got like ash in somebody's food, and it was a big problem. It was almost a fight.
Mm.
Absolutely disgusting. Not in my temple. No. Rocky smokes outside. You can ask him for a light, and you can find where he smokes, but not in my
Okay,
temple.
so Denia, basically, I asked you a question, and you took 5 minutes to tell me what the answer was, which is go find Rocky. Rocky has a light. Where's Rocky? Also, who is Rocky?
Hmm.
I think Rocky was that guy who came in and was making all the jokes, and then he left to get collisionist, and you said his jokes aren't as good as my jokes, and then he came back because he smelled like cigarettes too.
That's for you to determine, buddy. I can't really tell anymore.
The cow looks at that and is just like puts her head in her hands, and she goes, "He's my administrator. He is an elemental. He looks quite old. For a mage, he's
I might be
usually
able to smell
wandering.
him.
Oh, he's usually wandered at this time of night. He usually is wandering the building. I don't know where he would be exactly.
All right, well, I'll hit him up for a light and maybe be friends with him just so I don't have to, like, so it can just be a given anytime that I want one. And I'll respect your wishes and smoke outside, but I'm gonna do it right at the door.
Why? Why on earth have you picked this habit up?
Mm.
It was a bit, and then it wasn't a bit.
It was a bit, and then it stopped being a bit real fast.
Yep.
I looked into the future and I saw the fault in our stars, and then I was like, but what if I did that for real?
I thought it was really funny to blow smoke in people's faces, and vaping hadn't been invented yet, so
Yeah.
I had to go the old-fashioned way.
Cal very snottily is like, you could take this as an opportunity to quit.
Sure could. Danae, have you ever
No.
heard that thing about the like smoking after sex and stuff?
No.
Well, I've done the whole thing where it's like instead.
Cal tilts her head at that.
So,
So-
like I say, 15 a day.
So I see you've taken the breakup well.
Yeah.
No.
Go have your cigarette. Go. We can speak about travel plans when you're rational.
Okay. Yeah,
All right,
Dad,
well,
let's
then
go.
I'll never see you again. Yeah.
Dad, let's go sniff down this guy. Come on, collisionist.
Wait, no, I'm not.
Well, I need to help Dad find rocks, and you need to come with me so that I'm with you at all times.
You can be apart from
Come
me
on,
for
Danielle,
a
it'll
little
be fun.
while.
No.
And then Cal sees the intensity of the face and the no, and is like, okay, but the hair's so stuff.
Kekino is closer to a teenager now. He's gonna start advocating for what he wants.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cal holds up the leash and is like, does he need the leash? Do you leash him to take walks now? Is it a safety thing? Is he going to be captured by a hawk? He's a little heavy.
Around mortals, you know, like he's got his little disguise. What do you think of it? Oh, well, I mean, you already know him as he is, so you wouldn't see him as a fake little dog, but mortals can see him as a fake little dog. It's
And
very
sometimes-
cool.
And sometimes I go up to them and I go, "Hi, I'm Kekino," and then they go to Dad and they try to shake their hand and go, "Hi, Kekino," and I go, "No, that's not Kekino. I'm Kekino," and then they're like, "No, I understand," and then they're shaking Dad's hand. And I'm like, "But I'm Kekino."
Oh, that sounds very hard. It's a good spell. That's a good idea.
So you're
Let's
coming
get this
with.
over with. Yes, unfortunately, let's get this over with.
Okay,
So much
carry
to
me.
do. Okay.
And this is like a very deliberate fucking with her thing. It's like, you want one?
It doesn't say
No,
anything.
no. Collagenous say no. Collagenous say no. No, no, don't do it.
Oh, I would
That's
never.
all right. All right. This will be my next one. Tucks it in the ear.
Techno.
Yes.
Have you ever like gotten rid of them, like thrown them into the trash or like water, anything like that?
No, because the one time where Dad was totally out, um, uh, they got really mad. So we had to go out of the woods and we had to find a place, and then they didn't have any because they were all sold out, and then we had to go to another place. Dad got really cranky, and I don't like seeing Dad upset.
Mm. May's not going to like this.
Maybe, but May can see the trick that we do, and you can see the trick that we do.
Oh, I mean, I can't because your father said that I already know what you look like.
Oh no, not that trick. The
Oh,
the trick where Dad lights one of his things and then he blows smoke and I catch it in my mouth and then I
no,
go
you should not do that.
ah, and it makes a
No,
ring.
no, 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 no. We are
And
not
then
encouraging
he
this.
jumps through the ring.
And then I jump through the ring.
Yeah.
Well, that does sound impressive, but we are not encouraging this. No, no.
And then I think Cal is probably a little better. Like, I think Fish is just like wandering, but Cal is like, I know the route that Rocky goes on. So she just is like swerving down certain corridors.
Yeah,
Give,
that's yeah.
Give me an investigation check with advantage for finding Rocky.
That is going to be 19.
19. You find Rocky pretty quickly, because you find Rico pretty quickly. Um, the
Yeah.
As you head up into the temple, into the more like public areas of the temple, the places where Wreath was staying, where you often receive guests and stuff, which you have put in an effort to make a little bit nicer than the rest of the temple, the sort of working areas. That means that you have just started experimenting with putting some plants around. You have a couple of potted plants you started putting in like the main hall. There was a plant mage that you met that altered them to not need as much sunlight to grow. They can like passively leech magic to grow, and you're just kind of spent a little bit of free cash on them experimenting with these decorations. The unfortunate thing, as you've found out, is that um, Rico really likes the plants and has taken to like digging little holes in them that she then curls up in. So you see a suspicious white fluff around a plant and and approach it at the same time that Rocky does. Hey, I was looking for you everywhere. Come on, Rico. Nope. Nope. Put the dirt back. Nope.
Uh,
Nope.
base
All right,
speech.
boss.
Base speech. How's it going, cat?
Oh, you can talk to me. Interesting. Are you my new servant?
You bet. Why do you think I came all the way?
Very well. I need 6 more of these containers full of the good soft bed.
I will have it done, master.
Excellent. Stops struggling and kind of like twines around Rocky's legs, but being like, I approve of this one.
Hmm. What can I say? I have a way with animals.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, hey boss, what you need?
I'm fine. Cleric Snapper would like to accompany you for a smoke break.
Oh shit,
Yeah.
really?
Yeah,
Yeah.
dude.
All right, well, let's go then. I was actually just about to take one myself. You know, these things are kill you, but you know,
Mm-hmm.
if you're gonna be chasing the dragon, you might as well chase the dragon. You know what I'm saying? So, Snapper,
Yeah,
was it?
well, yep, Snapper, Dan Snapper. Daniel, if you're being formal, but Dan.
Oh, I've never been
And
formal in my life. Come on, Dan, let's get you a cigarette.
perfect. I already have one in my mouth, dude. Here, you can have one of mine as well. Uh,
Oh, thanks. You can have one of mine. It takes out a pack
all
and
right.
trades.
Thank you.
You like independent lights?
Pokemon card.
I'm a spirit man myself.
Yeah. Yeah, look, I don't have a particular brand preference. I just need it in general.
Yeah, no, I understand. You're working, you know, in your temple all day. It's dark. You don't see the sun for a long time. Sometimes you just gotta get out there. You just gotta light up. You gotta feel the sun on your face. You know, it's important. I've
Oh,
been telling
yeah.
everybody in this temple, take up smoking. It gets you outside. You get fresh air. You get more exercise. You're going up and down the stairs. Not to cast aspersions about my fellows, but a lot of necromancers, they're pale. They don't get enough sun. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, you see, you might. This is all. It's a tan. I am not a person of color.
Oh, I bet. Oh, you just like sunbathing while you smoke. Oh,
Hmm.
yeah. Smoking will keep you young, I'll tell you.
Uh,
You look at
uh,
the oldest man you've ever seen.
yeah. And it's episode 2, but Fish is already looking and being like, is this my character arc started and finished? Like, am I done?
This is my
Maybe.
future. Maybe I don't want this. Yeah,
One more.
yeah, Rocky takes you up and out to what is clearly his smoking spot by the entrance. It's just like you leave the cave. There's kind of this wide turnout of like dirt road that's the entrance. Walk off to one side, and there's just like a pile of stomped butts that are just sitting there littering the environment. You find out pretty quickly he doesn't have a lighter because he's an elementalist. He lights it off of his fingers, but he lights for you, yeah, you have a nice smoke break, and probably Gekino is like,
We're going too, right? So we can all be together and hang out.
Cal like tries to distract him of being like as they're walking and like Kekno keeps like following, she'll be like, "You haven't met Russo?" And then Kekno's like, "A new person to pet me."
Oh, okay. Yes, you should carry me around and introduce me to absolutely everyone. Even if I already know them, you should introduce them again so they can
And
pet
she
me.
does that.
No, no. We got a little bit more. So they're having their smoke break, and Fish goes, back at my temple of the Sacred Carp, my abbot is super chill and lets me smoke indoors. Obviously, not the same with yours. that is cleric Denya. She's refusing the title, so I am aware. Tell me about her. She wearing that veil every day?
Oh, boss is great. She wears it pretty often. I've seen her a couple times without it. Out and about. People in town were a little bit weird about the veil at first. Every once in a while, I was kind of like, well, going into town, just got to put on a big hat or something like that. Yeah, but I think this temple is pretty relaxed. My office is right here, kind of first cave on the left, if you will. So it's not much of a walk. Just gotta take care of things when nature calls, and yeah.
Yeah, I'll visit you. So what happened? Did another sister die but not die? What's going on?
Did another sister what of what?
Did another sister die but not die?
Yes, but he's like, what the hell are you talking about?
Oh, no, Denya's not like actively in mourning or anything.
Oh, morning? No, no. Usually the veil, if she is going out, is more like a afternoon or evening thing. Um, uh, No, she's just she wears it sometimes. She says it makes her comfortable. I guess I thought I told her maybe she should smile more, but that's
You don't say that to women.
oh well
Say it to men.
okay, yeah, yeah. You know what, you're right. Men need to smile more too. But yeah,
All right.
sometimes
Well,
she
I'm
wears
gonna.
it, sometimes she doesn't. Sometimes she's got it a little shorter, a little longer. She's got a bunch of those things.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well, I can't think of anything good to say to you anymore, so I'm gonna turn over here.
Best thing about smoking, you can sit in silence.
Yeah,
That's
let's.
male company. You know what I'm saying? Just be
Yeah,
here
yeah.
in the same place, not interacting at all, just being in the same general vicinity of each other.
Mm-hmm.
All right, boss. Well, keep it sleazy.
End of scene. Thank you. That
um,
was to establish that Fish is still highly preoccupied with the subject of Cal's face.
yes,
Thank you.
and
That's
now
text.
now learning that Cal may not be as preoccupied with Cal's face. um, Yeah, this seems like a sinner situation of being like, yeah, of course I've seen her without her veil, like not appreciating that is a rare thing that is special, which yeah, probably kicks Fish in the nuts a little bit. Um, how are you planning on getting to May?
Plane.
Yep. Cal, at some point when they reconvene, talk travel plans, and in a very paranoid way, is like, I know Pagan must have an in with the necroman or the teleporters union, and therefore, if we use a teleporter, she'll know quickly. She definitely does has tapped my bank information, but that is slower, and so if I use my bank to buy plane tickets, she may discover it, but it will probably take a while, and I'll have my substitute here in the meanwhile. Oh, I haven't told you about the substitute. Oh,
The
Beliala
what?
and uh, Beliala and another cleric I don't believe you've met yet. So, they stand in for me anytime I need to leave the temple. It's not safe for the um, it's not safe for this temple to be without supervision and without a seen threat, so I don't leave, even when I do leave.
Ah, okay. But you're not the boss, are you?
I am the boss for now, but that's a
Just for now.
temporary thing. Yes, longer than I
Yeah.
would have liked, but just for now.
Yeah. Let's forego the teleporters. Look, I've made some enemies. None of them like me anyway. That's and when I say none of them, I mean none of them. First of all, not a lot. But it means you get through them quicker. Anyway, plane. Let's get a plane. You can smoke on
Oh,
a plane.
no, really?
So you want to sit right next to
Horrible.
me?
No, not
You can smoke.
particularly.
You can smoke on a plane. It's true.
Ugh,
Yep, it's 1955.
yeah. It's weird that you specify that. It's like-
I think it's
I
important to
specified
She
a lot
specify.
turns
of
to the
things.
camera and goes, Walt Disney opened Disneyland 4 months ago.
I think it's important to specify that. Oftentimes we come out of the woods to get like groceries or something, and then we'd meet up with somebody. And we go, "It's 1955," and they go, "Yeah, for a couple more months."
Mm, is that something you've been losing track of?
No, not
Oh,
me.
okay. It was actually kind of funny. It went from 53 to 54, and I was like, "Hey, happy like it's 53 still." And they were like, "No, it was New Year a week ago." And I'm like, "Oh, uh, that." But that was the one time that happened because it was just the one time.
Oh,
And then it
yeah.
became a joke where every time we had to go to town, we had to say, it's this year." And sometimes, Clayton, sometimes we say it wrong on purpose.
Oh.
Yep.
Is this a prank involving I?
I think I was there for one time.
Hmm. Oh, so you kept it up. Interesting. Well, I will have my people arrange our flight for tomorrow to see May. Are you intending, is this a surprise? Should we call her?
Oh, it's best if it's a surprise, don't you think? That'd be really funny and good as like an ending to an episode as a sudden
Yeah.
like, oh shit, there's a car coming.
Yes, and also I wasn't given any heads up at all, so it's only fair that May doesn't either. All right.
I'm glad you're still as petty as me, Denya.
Actually, you see her purse her lips under the veil. Anyways, do you need anything else from me?
Um, uh, my room is 4B. Okay. Yeah, well, look, apart from the whole fact that you don't seem very happy to see me, it's great to see you, Denya. Uh, all right. Yep. That's the end of the banter. You're not gonna give me the satisfaction anymore? Okay. All right. I'll try again later. See ya.
Good night. Anyways,
Okay,
wait.
bye, Dad.
But isn't it your bedtime?
Yeah, let's go to bed, Collagenist.
Mm, you don't want to. Why? You should sleep with in the same bed as your father.
I do most of the time. If you wanna call Dad back in, so they can sleep here and I can sleep with both of you, that would be fine.
No, not that one. I'm going to have to still. You're going to get very tired, and I'm going to be keeping the lights on because I have to keep working. You should just go with your father.
I can stay up. I'm Collagenist. You may not know this, but I am more than 2 years old now.
Ah,
I am a big boy. I can
did your
stay up late.
did your bedtime change?
Yes,
What is it now?
That's a 7 on deception.
Hmm. Interesting. Well, how about I do my work and then you make a nice little pile and get all comfortable and sleep. And then inevitably when you wake up because you miss your father, I can walk you over to their room and you can get properly settled. But you can start to sleep here.
Okay, and you're gonna finish up work so you can cuddle me and go to bed with me too, right?
Mm,
I'm just gonna start sleeping
mm-hmm.
first, and then you're gonna carry me to bed.
Yes. You just go to sleep first and I'll join you.
Okay.
She does not intend to do that.
First
Mhm.
time Kekino wakes up, he reminds you. Second time, he hops up on your desk and curls up on your paperwork. And every time you try and like pull it out from underneath him, he just flips out a flipper and like scrapes it back underneath him.
Cal like picks him up to like bring him
No,
over to Fish's
no,
room.
no. Bedtime, Colliginous! You need to cuddle me!
Does she
It's
actually
bedtime!
does she go to the room?
I think she's trying to, and then Kekino is probably making such a loud noise while she's like, shh, I'm just trying to breathe. Shh, shh, I don't want you to wake me up.
Work time is over, Colliginous. The sun is down. It's time for sleep.
Sun will be up again soon.
Well, then you gotta go to bed now so you could get good sleep. It's like you always tell me. Good seals get 10 hours.
Yes, that's why I'm trying to bring you to your father so you can sleep. You can stop making noise now.
Don't you want to be a good seal too?
No, I have to be a good cleric, and that means staying up.
No, I don't.
I
Goodness.
think this is the point it becomes a full
Goodness.
temper tantrum,
Yes.
and Cal realizes she needs to run back to her room with the seal.
He is fully like crying and whining and throwing a fit at this point because he's very
Okay.
tired. He's had to wake up so
Roll.
many times.
I'm rolling to hear this.
Yeah.
To perceive.
Give me a
Yeah,
perception
absolutely.
check.
Damn. Okay, 5. Whatever, I'll still do the joke. Fish is just too busy smoking in their room.
God.
By the way, you get to your room. It's clearly like the new construction, so it is like an empty chamber with a door, a bare light bulb, and a bed. Your room sucks.
And actually, it's great. Because it doesn't matter if it gets all fucked up with
Yeah.
smoke, does it?
You fall asleep
Um,
with a cigarette. You wake up in time to like put it out, so there's just like the
God.
one burn mark, and you didn't set it on fire.
Oh my god.
Mhm.
Well, Kakano has his temper tantrum, and Cal realizes the only thing that will resolve it is her changing into jammies in her nightgown and curling up with him. And she intends to be like, I'll just wait until he settles, and then I will get back out of bed and go back to work. And then she ends up passing out.
Crawl into bed.
Good.
Kekino climbs up onto your chest. Every time you start to like sit up or toss and turn, he goes and wakes up a little bit. So you're stuck there until you fall asleep.
Yep.
The next day, we will just abstract. You do have a relationship with the people in town, including the ability to borrow a truck when needed, which gets you and Fish, as well as Rousseau, out of town to the airport and get dropped off before Rousseau drives back. Uh, Last you saw Beliala, she had put on some of your nicer clothes and a veil. They don't really sit right on her, but they're close enough. And it seems like
The
the
veil makes sense to Fish now.
yeah. It seems like, and it also probably occurs to you being like, Rocky was like, sometimes she wears it, sometimes she doesn't. Does she like actually not wear it, and when the veil is when there's other people? Because Cal
I
doesn't
haven't. I
necessarily.
haven't even been talking to the real Denier this entire time.
Yeah.
Fuck.
It's been the substitute.
Yeah. Cal, you probably realize Cal does not necessarily tell people when she's switching out. They just suddenly go like, Clerk Denier, we have an important. You're not cleric denier.
I think it would be funny if there was one point on day 2 that Fish walked up to Cal to talk to her, and she was fully paying attention to them and listening and responding, and then at some point they realized it was not Cal, it was Rousseau in the full disguise and voice changing choker, and she is the essentially like, that was fun.
I'm
Yeah.
mastering my craft.
It's fun. She genuinely like. It's really fun to test it out with someone who knows her so well.
Yeah.
I
Yes,
was,
you go to the
yeah, not
airport.
weird at all.
Yeah, not super weird. Yeah, you go to the airport. It's pretty busy. You catch kind of an early flight, first thing in the morning. It's hard. There's a lot of there's quite a few stopovers before you can get to Sudan. You got to fly across, stop over in London, fly down, stop in Cyprus, and then fly down. It's a long trip. Uh, Cal probably ends up having to make a face mask of shadows at one point, just because of the pure amount of cigarette smoke, not just from Fish, but from other people too. Um, Especially when you get on the European connection. Kekino is having a great time. You've learned that as he's getting through like security and stuff, security, of course, in the 1955s was being white and having a firm handshake gets you on the plane. You find he has a lot of enjoyment in going up to people and going, bark! Bark! And they're like, oh, what a cute dog! And then he makes eye contact with one of you and goes, but yes, that is the flight as you land down outside Khartoum in the early afternoon, and I assume rent a car and head to find May.
And Fish is so excited to show off their driving skills now that they can drive. They do
Mhm.
like a big donut and another, and then like go on and then another surprise donut. And it's like, what do you think?
I don't think cars had them in the 1950s yet, so I can't say that Cal was gripping the handle the entire
It,
time.
so genuinely, there was not a handle. What you would do at the time is you would actually grip the frame.
Yeah.
That was why they invented handles, because the way you did it is you rolled down the window and then you just like gripped the edge of the car.
She does that. Yeah, Cal also can drive, but she hasn't mentioned this to Fish yet because she knew that Fish would be even more gleeful about being the one to drive if they knew she had the ability. So
Hmm.
she's just let it be. She's also been traveling the entire time in a burqa, so she, her silhouette is still very Cal because it's all of the covering and stuff like that and the veil, but there is definitely something that is just slightly unusual just because it is like actual like modern day clothing instead of the and it's like very flowy instead of her very structured, corseted, bustled, etc. kind of garments.
Hmm. And I will say that after you land is when you get a call from Jamal. You've already uh, uh, packed a number of clothes based on his kind of recommendation on fashion things, but he's now calling with information about the gods that you asked him to research, because he got a 15 on that roll,
Good
which is
job, baby boy.
not bad. Um, Jamal essentially tells you that true to what Fish may or may not have said, um, uh, Korean mythology and the gods is a sort of strange halfway point between traditional Chinese and Japanese mythology. There is a much greater emphasis on dragons in both their mythology and magic. The closest thing to there are sorcerers in Korea, but like the largest population of magic users are essentially call themselves dragon mages and say they borrow the power of the dragons to use magic. With a 15, Jamal wasn't sure whether dragons are like a real magical creature or not, or just kind of like a metaphor for a source of power, or being like, yeah, dragons exist, but not in like this dimension. They're, kind of like Fish's dad, in an alternate dimension, and power flows through him that way. So that's a little unclear. Specifically researching the Japanese gods versus the Korean gods. Um, the closest there is essentially a Korean god that is identical to the Japanese god that you're looking for, almost exactly the same harvest and fertility, specializing in the rice crop, and uh, yeah, with a 15, Jamal was not able to pinpoint them for you, especially because of how the war kind of changed the landscape and destroyed a lot of things. But there are like temples to this god in South Korea, specifically around the croplands south of Seoul. Um, the closest thing to his sister, though, the Japanese goddess of foxes and mischief and treachery, uh, is essentially not a goddess, but like a greater spirit. In Japan, she's the goddess of foxes and the leaders of the kitsune, the nine-tailed foxes. In Korea, uh, they have the equivalent, the same kind of being, the gumiho. But there's not like a goddess of the gumiho. There's just a one old nine-tailed fox that is like the OG that kind of sort of rules them in a way, and you realize that's the closest equivalent. So her brother goes to Korea, does not get any sort of power downgrade. She tries to operate in Korea and gets a major power downgrade, and that is why she needs someone else to pursue some leads. Um, uh, yeah, you are given just kind of the general state of things. Korea is really fucked up. The Korean War ended not that long ago, and Seoul, especially, but most of the country really, is in this process of reconstruction because pretty much all of it was razed to the ground. Um, it's bouncing back pretty fast, but it's still in a pretty rough place, and obviously tensions are still very high because North Korea exists and is still actively at war with South Korea, even if they are at a ceasefire at the moment.
Cool.
All right, you get there, you rent a car, drive out to the desert, where you find May. You probably knew who May was working with and for from various conversations before. She may have even told you specifically like where her dig was, but uh, whether from a previous conversation or just asking her yourself previously, you end up driving to her dig site as the busy town kind of fades behind you in the distance. As the car rumbles up over the road, you see a big, like a train of cars going the opposite direction from the dig site, and here you are, stopping and seeing May.
How's she look?
Dirty. She's been working all day.
But like emotionally.
Oh, fine.
Okay. Teddy, that's
Yeah,
enough.
she's just at work.
Yeah, I also think May is also probably feeling a little bit of that relief of like, I just had this big important project and it seemed to went
Yeah.
well and everybody liked it. Of just being kind of like, oh, maybe may have just like waited until the officials just finished driving out of sight to slump in a chair and maybe grab a beer and a sandwich from the cooler.
Yeah, she's got a hand fan, and she's doing that while she has like some water or something. That's what I'm picturing.
Does Fish do something first when they lay the horn or pull up?
Yeah, honk the horn and jump out of the car and go, "Hey, bitch, how are you?" Quit having that moment of quiet vulnerability. We're going adventuring.
It's not what they actually say.
Not precisely.
Yeah, tone-wise, not those
Yeah.
exact words, maybe. While when you were getting close, Kekino was like,
Dad, we should do the thing. Remember the spell? We should do the thing. Okay? Ready? Ahem.
and as Fish is like, "Yeah, come on, bitch, we're going shopping. We're gonna have adventures." Kekino comes out and you see is wearing a little pink service dog vest with a harness and handle, and slides up to May and says, "Be not afraid, May. It is me, Kekino. I have
May
become
finds
a
that very
man.
funny.
I have become a man in the time away."
May laughs, I imagine. I don't think she believed it for a second, but it's very amused.
I got you. I got you like that.
The voice that comes out of Kekino is like a booming, deep voice. You recognize pretty quickly it's a magical effect.
May bends down and says, "Oh, it's been so long, Kekino. Can I pick you up?"
Please do.
Yeah. May picks him up over the shoulder like a sack of potatoes and is like, when you've got a baby and you're kind of just like going silly with them, like, and they're enjoying the feedback balance wise. Yeah, May just doing that. And while she's doing that, turns to both Cal and Fish and says, I'm very pleased to see you, but what are you doing here?
In the neighborhood. I'm just kidding.
Oh,
We've
fuck
got a
off,
job.
Fish. A job? What in Sudan?
Yeah.
No,
No, we are picking you up for the job.
What?
We're going on an adventure.
Fish has gotten themselves in a predicament and would need our particular expertise to get them out of it.
Like a couple of weeks or something, right?
No,
Later.
No.
No. We're going to the hotel and then we're going to get on the plane.
All right. So what's actually happening?
Do you want to tell her?
Fish goes into business mode.
Yeah.
Which is, all right, the job is this. The Okami, was it Saisho or Saisho that you pronounced it, Patrick?
Saisho.
Saisho Inari, great uncle to one Kitsune Oshiberi, is missing, presumed dead. We're going to his last known location in South Korea to find out what happened to him. And the two of you have the perfect skills and expertise for the job, and for disrupting your busy schedules, I'll make sure that you, compensated and stuff. Lady Sanban and Ari personally came to my birthday party to ask me to do the job. And when it came to assembling my team, my poor fairy.
It's not like a birthday party, but it also is kind of a birthday party because it was a big celebration.
I know what it is. I've done my research, but we didn't tell us. Well, you didn't tell me. Maybe you told religionists, but
I made notes for you. I knew you'd appreciate them.
Oh, I mean, I always appreciate notes, obviously, but it would have been nice to be there.
Perhaps we
sorry.
were not allowed.
Right. Well, I am English, so draw what you want from that. Sorry.
You wouldn't have wanted to be there.
What?
Look, when it came to assembling my team, I knew I had the right people. I should introduce you guys sometime, but they weren't available. Anyway, come help me.
You're serious about going to Korea. That's not a joke.
Yes. Yes, May.
Right. It's just, unlike Collisionists, I don't have a series of people who can pretend to be me. And I kind of have a
Oh, you
team
knew
of...
about that.
Of course, why wouldn't I? I'm in contact with Collisionists just like you are.
She helped make the chokers.
Well, that too. So my point is, I have like how big is May's team? I'm imagining like 30 to 50 people, right?
Not quite that big for this kind of site, but yeah, definitely about like 25, 30. It's a pretty sizable team that you're managing. Fortunately, you are like at the tail end of the season. You've got like maybe another week before you're like actually done for the season, and they're gonna go home or go off to other jobs and then start up again in like 2 or 3 months. But yeah, no, you're actively in the middle of a job with a lot of employees working for the government.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, all in the background, so many of your diggers, who obviously you're the boss, are always paying attention to what you're doing. Is like I guess May's really a dog person. She just really like scooped up that dog and is whirling him around while she chats to these people. Well, who knew? I mean, maybe that's like a crew gift. You know, there's been that stray dog that's over in the neighborhood. Yeah.
Hal is gonna actually come up to May and put a hand on her arm and be like, I understand. I'm going to try to keep this as short as possible.
Has a spark over there.
Yeah, May swaps to French not to exclude Fish, but to practice because Collisionist is here.
Yeah.
So Collisionist is subjected to her very badly accented French because she's not great at it.
Starts in English and then it's like fine and transitions to French, but she starts in English and she's like, look, I'm also not wanting to give this too much of my time, but I'm hoping it'll be a rather simple murder case and an opportunity for the two of us to learn something interesting. And they seem to be taking... Did you know about the breakup with Lyle? They seem to be taking it very poorly.
Oh, yes. I mean...
no parlez-vous français. The Isle thing is not good, but maybe this will be a big fun adventure and we'll be together for days and days and weeks and months. Doesn't that sound nice?
Maybe. Turns back to May to like go back to the gossiping.
Look, it's just, murder case, I understand why you're involved. Obviously, necromancer. But I'm not a specialist in Southeast Asian mythology or anything. I know very broad strokes, but...
I understand. I don't want to do it without you. But I mean, I think you are a good investigator in a way that I am not. And they did not ask Metal, and they did not ask Isles.
Yes. Oh, Isle, yes, obviously. But I would have thought they asked. But she's still...
The engagement,
the whole thing, isn't she?
But not the engagement. Yes.
Right. It's... She's having a smoke, right?
Yep.
At this point, I would like to imagine the smell of the smoke. And it's like, who's smoking? I told him not to smoke while we're near the... Turns around and sees Fish and is like...
This is absolutely an issue you've had with your diggers of like, especially Egyptians and Sudanese at this time. They were all smoking. So it's absolutely a thing of like, I need you to move like 30 feet away from the site because Ash keeps getting into our dig site and I'm not going to ask you again.
It's amazing ready to like fucking lose it. And sees Fish, fucking Ben Affleck smoking in the corner. And it's like, Fish, are you smoking?
Yeah, you want one?
No. How close is Fish to the game? Are they a safe distance?
I don't know. Yeah, a safe distance.
Okay.
I'm just imagining Fish like leaning over these guys digging and working and being like, hey, What you guys doing?
Yeah.
Nice start.
But also it's a stress thing. Like, you know what? I have just shown up out of nowhere and asked a whole lot of people who I know I'm questioning if they ever liked meat in the first place. So that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, like, oh yeah, hey guys, how you going? Let me ash directly on your tools. Yeah, yeah.
And also, the sooner you agree to mission, the sooner they can stop fucking up your work. She says this in French.
Right. It's
Polygamous, that's a bad word.
Not in French.
You forget,
How likely
Kekano
is-
speaks French now. You've been teaching him. You can't swear in French because he knows when there's swears.
all right. How likely is it that if May leaves, like it's going to cause problems? Like specifically for her network, which she has put a lot of effort into building here.
I would say give me a roll about it. Let's do an intelligence check plus like essentially tool proficiency.
So, let's give me a +5 all up. That's a 12.
Okay. It, definitely going to be some hiccups. The tail end of a dig, as well as kind of the off-season time, is a lot of like categorizing, making sure labels are correct. Sometimes detail work on getting the dirt out of like the carvings on pots and things like that. Like a lot of like kind of like indoor slow work that relies on your expertise specifically a lot more than kind of the main digging. You think it will definitely cause problems and maybe kind of like put a hitch in starting the next season, especially if you're gone for too long. But the actual like danger to the dig site, danger of like stuff being damaged or like not having someone to supervise, you have trained your people pretty well. You managed to get some of your old, more experienced diggers from down in Egypt up here, and they've been with you for. Obviously it's been a little while, but before the break to America, they've probably got a total of like 5 or 6 seasons under you. So the actual like day-to-day management of the dig for this last kind of week, you don't really need to be here, but it will delay things. It will cause problems. Maybe not catastrophic problems, but it will cause problems.
Yeah. And like, how long has she been working with Muhammad as like her main assistant? Like, has he also got the 5 seasons sort of with her?
He's kind of one of the old heads. He's
Okay, cool.
He's someone who he was like a junior digger on like his first site with you, and then kind of like worked his way up.
Yeah, cool. All right. Maybe still super fucking reluctant. And is going to turn to Fish and say, "Look, why do you really need me? What's so urgent about this? This person's already dead. Like, what's?" Obviously,
well,
yes.
in
What am I
fir-
going to find out? But
In French, Kekano says, "Because we really like you and we want you to be with us because we love you."
First of all, we
French,
don't know that
go
this
on.
guy's dead.
all right, that sounds
First of
less
all, we don't
urgent
know
again.
for sure that this guy's dead.
Mm-hmm.
Second of all, need I remind you, this is a god that we're talking about, and like, I think that's pretty important. If gods are gonna go around, like, whether they're dead in the worst case or just missing in the better case, that's not good for anyone, anywhere.
Depends on the god. Well, it does.
Excuse the fuck me?
Well, it does. If the god is causing problems for its people, I'm just saying, like, it inherently being a god doesn't make them important. I want to know why this is specifically important, Fish. You're asking me to give up 2 years of
Fish.
work here.
You should just tell her.
Look, I'm not just springing this on you, okay? This was sprung on me, and it is very important that I do it, because if I don't, then Lady Inari is going to take away the connection that I have with my dad, and I might never see him again. And I've literally just joined the fucking clan, and that would take all of that effort away, and I'd be alone again. I mean, no, I wouldn't be alone again because I have all my friends. But help, just fucking help me out.
Well, if you just said that from the start, that's a lot more important to me than some god going missing. Right, let me go
not.
speak to my assistant. May's like, why the fuck did you bother with this god bullshit? Right, let me go speak to Muhammad. He's been my right hand for the past 2 years. If anyone's going to make sure the rest of this dig goes okay, it's him. How long are we thinking? We have teleporters at least, right? We're not going to have to fly coach all the way to South Korea from Sudan, right?
No, we're doing economy.
This is a hot new thing. It's
If
like
anyone-
Coach, but the name's different.
If you hire the teleporter and I'm careful, we can do a teleporter, but I can't hire them, and apparently they all hate fish.
It's true.
May will just surely May knows a teleport by now. Surely.
In the 2 years since you were last using teleporters regularly, the teleporters union has kind of like fractured a little bit. It still exists technically, but like there's a lot more business operating outside of it, and it's a lot more. This is now at the point where certain teleporters have started going missing,
Wow.
or retiring, as it seems, to the community at large.
Living in a lake.
Yeah, living in a
Laying
lake.
upstate in the farm, yes.
So there's a lot more like unofficial business going on, which does mean kind of like personal relationships with teleporters are more important than ever, which is
I would
why.
take this opportunity to remind you that May did tip the teleporter. I was super
Yes.
nice.
Yes. No, it's true. You did, however, tip the teleporter that is now dead. So.
No shit, right? You said that was me.
Yeah.
But maybe we
Yes.
just to any other reporters that she's seen recently. I'm saying.
There
Oh.
is the one that hit on Cal. That's a different
I was
one.
thinking about him.
There is the one that hit on
Right.
Cal, which is a different one. I'm
Yeah.
just saying it makes a lot more sense of being like, yeah, Fish is not like on super great terms with teleporters right now, which means weirdly they find excuses to not work for them. But yeah, you probably have you probably like Egypt to Sudan was probably like a cross country road trip, but like you might have used a teleporter to get from Canada to England. You know, you might have had more recent kind of interactions with them. I don't think there's a teleporter that you're like, this is a friend I can call in a
Yeah,
favor for or something
My
like that.
bestie.
But you definitely do have like contacts you can reach out to of being like if they're willing to do it.
Yeah, May will. Once this conversation is done, May's going to go make a lot of calls.
The
But yeah, her main concern
intention-
now is.
Oh, Cal will just say the intention is to return by the 21st or the 22nd. We'll all
What's
go
the
back
date
to
now
our
again?
lives. I think it's like the 15th.
It should literally be coming back just as the dig finishes. That's all right. Then she can tidy up any loose ends.
And then Cal should
She's-
also Cal will clarify it. She's like, and if I have to wrap up things and you return earlier, we'll figure out a way to handle that.
Much appreciated. It's also just I'm a little bit worried about Sin as of late. He's working very hard.
Oh,
don't think
Where-
she'll be
where
happy
is
about-
Sinner? Where is Sinner? Why isn't he with you in the sandbox?
Oh, he's well, you both know he's working as a bodyguard,
Yes.
the bodyguard for the president.
Mm.
Oh, I thought
Yes.
when you told me that, I thought that was kind of like Mr. Sinner has like these jobs he does for like short periods of time, and then he does other stuff. Like he had that job and he had it for like 3 days before you called and were like, "The second Dawn has me," and then he left. So I thought that was just like a temporary thing, and he's been digging with you.
Mm.
May look at extremely fondly.
Yes, following around May does seem to be the primary job.
Yeah,
Can you
exactly.
blame him, cleric? Look at me.
I think Cal actually does give May a look over, and seems like she's happy. She's been in the sun. She's like doing well, and she just sort of like rolls her eyes and tilts her head, and she's like, "Yes, of course."
Right. Well, I need to make several calls. I'm very glad you came now and not an hour later, an hour earlier. Let's put it that way. Right. If you go into like May points towards like probably her tent, and so if you're both welcome to wait there in the shade. There's some water in the ice chest there, food as well if you'd like. I just need to go obviously sort quite a few things out.
Thank you. If I can be useful in some way, let me know.
Well, much appreciated. Just make sure Fish doesn't get Ash anywhere near any of here. Thank you.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. And if you need someone to walk around and get pets to comfort the workers because you won't be here, I volunteer.
Your sacrifice is duly noted and appreciated, Kekino.
Before May goes, Fish puts out the cigarette and just stomps on it in the sand and goes, I could have gone elsewhere, and I came to you guys.
Yes, to some of the many friends you have invited to your gathering, your shindig, your birthday party. But no, it's us, and we will find a way to be grateful for that.
Investigating with you guys meant something to me. It can mean something again.
I think Cal softens just slightly at that. May's like, I gotta go.
Yeah,
So
May's like, this seems so meaningful. Just disappear back into the hedge.
No, Ben yells back, I don't know why you're speaking in the past tense, but okay.
Cal picks up Kekino and says, we are obviously all in very different places, but if it didn't mean something to me, I wouldn't be here, so.
Glitchiness, we're all in the same place. I think it's called Sudan.
It's called Sweden. We're in Sweden.
So May's, if I can abstract, going to basically tell Muhammad that she's had like not a family emergency, but like these people are very important to her. She needs to go help them. Gives him like the lay of like, here's to what you need to do. I trust that you'll take care of it. I should be back within the week. Please pass on like my apologies to everyone, especially the Prime Minister if he comes back. And let him know that I am very eager to like, I'm eager to begin like our next dig upon my return. And once that's done, unless he has some like big stuff he needs to talk about, is going to go make the call to Sinner, like dabbing at her forehead, like this isn't going to go down well.
Give me a insight check.
And Muhammad?
For Muhammad.
Yeah, that's 14. Sorry, 12.
12. Okay. With a 12, you'd probably expected him to be maybe a little stressed, to be like, oh my god, I'm totally in charge now. But he isn't. He's just kind of like, oh yeah, no, go do what you're gonna do. Go take care of it. And a 12 is probably enough to be like, why isn't this an issue? And he kind of sees your confusion and kind of quietly reminds you that you are probably one of the very few white archaeologists that actually like stay here and work all day and actually run the project. And every other time he's worked for somebody, he's just basically already been the one in charge and just like going into town to report to the white archaeologist every once in a while.
I also think May has very much seen Muhammad as like we talked about with the archaeologists going into Ethiopia and stuff. May is very much like, I want to help like these archaeologists who have not had perhaps like a rigorous education get up to a point where they can do their own education. So I think she would be really pleased. Muhammad's like, no, I got it. Like, it's fine, go.
Muhammad is basically like, I'm glad that you're getting some U time. I'm sorry, it's kind of an emergency. He does also remind you that technically you work for the Minister of Culture, and you do have to kind of inform him that you're leaving. It's not necessarily it's not necessarily an asking for permission kind of thing, but you do need to tell him that you're leaving the country. So it's not up to Mohammed to talk to the Prime Minister. It's just like no, May, I will totally handle all of this dig. Talk to the Prime Minister? No, I'm not going to do that, but I will handle the dig.
I meant like if people come back to the physical dig site and he has to interact with them, not that he would be making the calls himself. Maybe like we'll make all those calls. I'm just assuming she'll do them unless there's going to be big scenes as a result of that.
Yes, I think we'll abstract a little bit towards through May, just like calling and informing people and letting people know.
Obviously, Sin is going to get a proper call though.
Yes, no, and a proper scene. Because we're going to actually do that. And probably you're going to be telling him in person. But the cultural minister is not super happy that you're doing this, but it's
enough. May is really apologetic.
Yeah, it's fine. You make your teleporter calls. Let's just do a luck check. Roll just a flat d20. You want high.
I get 5, so I guess we're flying coach.
So here's the thing.
Can you do silvery barbs or anything like that? Do you have any spells that work?
You can't do silvery barbs on yourself.
Yeah, but is there anything that you do have?
I don't.
I do have. Give me a sec. I do. I have it's like the mark of luck or something. Where is it? Fortunate soul. Yeah, fortunate soul. But I do have to do that in advance. We just say I did it in advance. I did it for the visit.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense to me that you did it for the visit.
Let's try again.
Yeah, you're using your one reroll on this.
Yeah. 7.
Okay. You start making some calls. The answer you're getting back pretty quickly is that is a war zone. They still pretty regularly kill people there. I can get you to like the southern tip of the peninsula as a favor to you, maybe, and then that's like, an additional like 10-hour drive to actually get to where you need to go.
It's probably better than flying, right?
Maybe. Flying would get you like just outside Seoul. It's more of a like price versus convenience thing, and price wise, it probably ends up about the same. And a 7 is being like, come on, can't you just get me a little closer? And it's like, May, as a favor, I'm willing to go there at all. Do you know how much job? Do you know how much work there is for a teleporter in South Korea right now? None. I'm giving up other jobs to do this for you. No.
Yeah, I guess if it's going to make not much of a difference, then just maybe would probably suggest flying coach. Because otherwise,
price-wise, it would be about the same. Time-wise, it would also be fairly similar.
Yeah. Oh, well, it's worth a shot. I'm telling you, the dice are not happy with me.
Yeah, that was a rough roll.
Yeah.
Well, as you finish making some of your calls, it is tending towards sundown, and you have two.
A date. Yep. I have a date. Yes. Sorry, go on.
I was gonna say you have a date tonight. It's probably starting in like 2 or 3 hours.
Mm.
And Yeah, you have 2 guests to show around your city.
Yeah, I mean, I guess mention them around if they're interested. I don't get the gist. I don't get the sense that either of them particularly are. Um,
Does she
Is-
mention that she has dinner?
yeah, she absolutely would. She'd be like, "Look, I should probably tell Stina that I'm going to be leaving for a week in person. It's only polite."
Yes, I suppose. I have work to do anyway, so you enjoy your outing and just leave me somewhere quiet and I'll do my paperwork.
Yeah, May's tent is like soundproof, so she can do paperwork in peace.
That's like,
Perfect
hell
place
yeah.
to do paperwork.
Hell yeah.
Are you sleeping in the tent at night? Because I assumed you were commuting and you were staying with Sinner.
Yeah.
Oh no, yeah, this would be like her working tent.
Yeah, that's what I figured.
Yeah.
Yeah, Cal would be like, I don't particularly want to be in your little love den, but that may be better than staying in
Then
a
she walks
tent
in, there's
until
just
you wake me
paper.
up.
All this paper.
Fish totally suggests and supports May actually having a last dinner with her partner. And then is like, all right, and then Daniel and I will go out.
Go where? I don't. Do you even
Get
even speak?
dinner.
We don't even speak the language.
But I can understand it.
I think Cal looks at May as in like, isn't this ridiculous? Shouldn't I just be sitting in your sand tent working on paperwork for 6 hours until you're done with your day?
It's kind of like, and the shrug is like, it's not a date. It's me breaking the news that I'm going to an extremely dangerous location by myself with no protection for a week unannounced.
It
In a
can
shrug.
still be a date. It can be both.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Cal is actually on pitch with that. I'd be like, of course it's a date. You're two people romantically involved getting dinner. Just because the news is bad doesn't mean it's not a date.
Usually,
I was like that. Yeah, that's all my dates.
Yeah, exactly. What did you say, Ellie?
Oh no, they're just like, right. Weird relationship experiences do you two have? All right, this is, yes, a date. Everything's going to be fine on this planet.
Cal turned when May's like being like, blah, blah, blah. Cal's like, that was unnecessarily rude to Fish.
Myself didn't say that.
Oh, okay.
Just having that moment of like, oh, right. Forgot who I was speaking to for a moment there. Cool.
I only just remembered this, but to remind you that you have this power, you have also unlocked May Flash of Genius. So when somebody makes an ability check, you can use it 3 times a day. You can add +3 your intelligence modifier to a roll that you or somebody else you see makes. So with that 7, that you could make that a 10, which doesn't help you.
Yeah, no, don't worry about it.
Yeah, just reminding you that is the
Yeah.
thing, especially because
Thanks, yeah.
you
You
might
can
have
use
more
it-
roles with Sinner.
Yeah, for the rest of this date with Sinner. I don't want to take too much for this, so I assume Cal's like, no, I'm gonna do paperwork. No! And Kekano's like, you need to eat. You haven't ate. You haven't eaten since we got on the plane.
One agent we got on the plane. We gotta have food.
They would absolutely recommend some good restaurants in town.
Yeah, that's what I was
Yeah.
also thinking. And was also like, Fish, this is all you need to say.
And specifically restaurants that will serve food that she knows Cal can actually enjoy.
Nothing
Thinking about the
spicy.
steamed fish, yeah.
And Fish does the 5-minute ritual of comprehend language, where they can actually understand the language, and proceeds to communicate solely in like, yep, no, pointing to the thing on the menu that I want.
Yeah.
What does it look like when you do this ritual? So you kind of got to concentrate on it.
What's on some nerd glasses?
uh, it's like, oh, okay, I thought you had stuff to do. All right, that's fine. Just empties out their pockets. It's 10 million cigarette butts. It's just like it's it's just to be free and clear of worldly items, and like a nice kneel and hands in the dirt, the sand, just to become like connected with like the earth and such. And it's like, all right, it's time to feel the connection with the earth and the people on it and understand the language of the place where I'm at. And I'm holding the sand of the place where I'm at. I might taste it. I would like to, I have to understand. Please, thank you.
Fish
Alright.
has to go
Hold on.
full Starfire and kiss a
Hold
native
on.
speaker.
Hold on. This is what it looks like when I am just sending to you guys now.
Yes.
Yeah,
Also-
I just used this meme.
Yeah. Also, Mole in Atlantis going, "You disturbed it." Yeah. Cal probably uses this opportunity to try to sneak off and do more paperwork. Kekino doesn't let her, and you all get a ride into town.
And Cal and Fish definitely do go in opposite direction of being like, yep, we're not going to be the awkward other table on your date.
Hmm.
Guys.
Yeah.
You don't want to
I
be the other
totally
table in this
didn't
situation.
Yeah, drama's not worth it.
No.
As you go to May's second favorite spot,
Yeah.
where you enter the city itself. There is a fair number of cars and a decent amount of traffic, and the crowds really start increasing in the background as this place is a kind of hustling and bustling city as you really enter the heart of it. You end up finding a restaurant that May recommended to you that is owned by a local who actually lived in the UK for an amount of time, and so it's this interesting kind of Sudanese, Egyptian, British fusion in kind of a way. And it's probably like, oh, I understand why May suggested this place. And it's really good, but a little bit odd, probably. And yeah, you just take in the hustle and bustle of the city. The fact that you can order in Arabic is pretty good. You actually find that it's not just one language, although Arabic is used most commonly. There's a number of languages that people are speaking, and you can kind of understand them all. And you really kind of sit and immerse yourself in the culture and the feeling of this place. Meanwhile, probably like 2 blocks away, has May given directions to like the house and phoned ahead to the probably security apparatus that's like part of the government center to be like, hey, these guys are coming, let them into my house.
Sure, for sure.
Okay. Then you both have a option after dinner of exploring or heading back.
I mean, yeah, I think it'll probably be they would be wanting to enjoy like the last couple of hours sooner, provided he isn't extremely fucking pissed at her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As you enter your favorite restaurant, which Sinner got you a table at. It is a little bit hopping in here. You know, it's a little nicer than you would typically find. So It's a little more kind of that quiet ambiance, but this is a nation that lives and loves a little loudly. So it's never going to be as quiet as like a fine dining restaurant you would get somewhere else. Um, but yes, you arrive at this restaurant and find that Sinner isn't here. That's not unusual. He works very hard and gets called kind of at all hours, and there's constantly things he's dealing with. So you're not surprised, but it's only a couple of minutes after you've sat down and started looking over the menu. Not that you don't already know what you want. When he rushes in to join you. Oh, sorry, May. Something came up. Kisses you on the cheek and sits back down. Pulls out a sprig of wildflowers that he clearly picked up on the way, and kind of knocks it into a little vase that's already on the table. It's kind of empty on all tables, and it settles in. You can just kind of see the tension leave his shoulders, and his body as he kind of relaxes with you.
I like to think that May's already ordered like the drinks that they have regularly.
Oh yeah. And it comes like as soon as he's sat down, and he gives you a little cheers as he then sips from it. And as he just kind of relaxes, he's like, oh. Well, I wasn't standing too close, but it seemed like the presentation went really well. They were definitely talking about it on the car ride back. Seemed very excited.
Really? What did they say? May's already like, should I be calling Mohammed before I leave it ahead? Like, let me passing things on.
Well, the cultural minister ended up writing back with Prime Minister Osman and I. So they were just speaking about future projects, some more digs they have. It seems that there is a dig to the northeast that may have shown some ancients artifacts that was brought to them by the locals. I think you might have heard about that one. Potential site for next year. But yeah, I'm just talking about how helpful you've been, and how well the work is progressing, and seems like things are going forward with the museum. They're opening the new wing and trading out many of the artifacts for some of the things you've been finding, or at least planning to, once they're cataloged and everything. Yeah, just a lot of positivity. Well done, May. Proud of you.
Thanks. Couldn't have done it without you and the other 25 people who I work with.
Well, I think you would have handled it just fine. I know I'm busy. But yeah, you got a good group of guys. It seems like.
It's kind of like doing that thing where like you like neaten the silverware. Like,
yeah, you just like straighten it ever so slightly, and it's like, oh, somebody's anxious. I will also remind you that Sinner is working security. If there were perhaps people that you met on this trip that you would want to be like, who is this person? He probably did their background checks before they were allowed here. So he may have Sinner may be like a source of information for you and for gossip, as well as also your boyfriend.
Yeah. May's going to say, so Mrs. Cole was very interesting. Not what I expected.
Was she? I noticed that she was chatting with you for a little bit, but I didn't. I wasn't close enough to hear anything. Seemed nice, though.
Yes, she reminds me rather a lot of Metal, except I don't know how to describe it. Very curious but not very well educated, which is an unusual combination for someone working in government. Or I guess not, depending on who you talk to. But I was wondering if you had anything more about her. She seems to be involved with the Maharu, but so I'm.
Yeah, no, we that came up in the background check. Yeah, let's see what I remember. Miss Cole goes by CC Cole in Mortal Society. Real name Kalor for sorcerer name, just a single word.
Woman, very fancy.
Yeah. Decent reputation in kind of the mortal world. Her and her family. Father did some government work before her, also a pretty low-powered sorcerer. Made some calls, did some quick interviews. Doesn't seem like anyone had really much bad to say about her. Just similar to you, friendly, adventurous, maybe not particularly bright. And no indication that she really has any power worth mentioning. I went back to quite a few people who've known her for long periods of time. No displays of hidden power or anything like that could be dangerous. Her assistant, Eustace
Yes,
George.
he was an interesting man.
Pretty interesting.
He did not want to be there.
Yes, he struck us as a little bit more of a danger, security-wise, former veteran, but yeah, other than a bad attitude, no real ties we could find to any group or organization that may pose a threat to the government. So we're just
former
keeping an eye
veteran
on
of
that.
which war?
Oh, World War II, the mortal World War II.
I see. Interesting. No, I think I'll keep in touch with her, only because it's good to have someone who is in with Maharu, but not particularly in with them. She didn't seem particularly, I don't know, not impressed, but it seemed to more regarded as a fun hobby than the danger potentially is.
Yes, we that kind of came up in the background. It seems like her supervisor is a much more active member in the organization. Has been bringing her in sort of closer and closer as part of just being part of the government, I suppose. Maharu is really getting their fingers in a lot of pies. But yeah, we didn't think that she was so close as to be worried about their agenda per se, because they are expanding here, unfortunately.
Yes, they certainly are. I guess, is there anything else I ought to know? It was nice to see Mr. Jones again. He didn't have much to tell me either, but
yeah,
I just feel like something's. I don't know. I feel like something's coming.
I've been working with Frightening off and on. You know, we've been trading messages and stuff, arranging the security protocols. Always nice to work with a professional. For something coming, we have had some warnings of potential movement, but nothing too concerning. Just things to keep an eye on. A few mages that have been known to do work for hire, moving around in Egypt, and some in Cyprus, quite a few, one in Chad. Just things to keep an eye on.
When you say mages for hire, are we talking about a very specific line of work?
One of the ones in Cyprus we've been keeping our eye on is has done assassination work in the past. Does not necessarily seem to be primarily an assassin, but that seems to be wrapped up in that political situation on the island. We don't have any signs that he's looking to come here, and of course we're watching all of the modes of transit. The rest of them are mostly mercenaries of some stripe or another. Many of them not professionally, but of course we gotta keep an eye on them if they've done that work in the past.
Well, I guess you're well placed to know with your background.
Exactly.
What? May, like, again straightens the cutlery, even though it doesn't need straightening, and says, "So I had some unexpected visitors today, just after you left."
Oh, other than Miss Cole?
Yes,
It's not the Maharu again. They trying to recruit you?
I wish it were, because that would be easier. Pelagius and Fish arrived out of nowhere?
Oh.
Yes.
Well, that's fairly expected of Fish, I suppose. Caligulus is a bit surprising.
Yes. There's no easy way to say it. I need to go help them in South Korea on a job tomorrow.
South Korea?
Mm-hmm.
As in war-torn South Korea.
Yes. Apparently, you remember Mr. Oshiberry, of course.
I do, yes.
So, it would
he's
send a note.
Jailed in South Korea?
Sinner would know. Sinner would probably, maybe would have told Sinner about everything with Fish. With, like...
Yeah, probably.
Yeah. Okay, so I scratch that. Maybe, like, do you remember that debt that Fish got themselves into with Kitsune's grandmother?
Yeah.
Well, she's come to collect, and if they don't help her, she's basically going to remove their connection to their father.
Ouch.
Yes. And I will say May has been talking in a very long this just because potentially overhearing, but now she switches to connection, and says, apparently someone's been killing gods. And we need to go to South Korea to check to see if one of them is actually dead or not. I don't know. To be honest, I'm kind of a bit flustered by the whole thing, as you can imagine. Kind of took me unaware.
Is there a threat to Fish? Is that why you need to go? Someone's gonna kill Fish?
Well, if Fish doesn't... Look, Fish really wants my help. I don't know why, to be honest. God knows I'm not a specialist. But if they don't succeed in this investigation, then they're going to lose, like I said, the connection with their father, and I'm a bleeding heart, as you well know, Mr. Trump, so...
I'm well aware, and it's really a double-edged sword. He kind of reaches across the table and takes your hand, which is still probably fidgeting, and he kind of like stills it and holds your hand a little bit. And he says, I love your friends, you know I do, but does it have to be you that goes? I won't be able to follow.
I know. And I know you're very stressed at the moment, so I'm really adding to said stress. But yes, I've already spoken with Muhammad and the minister, and Muhammad's going to take care of everything. The minister's not too impressed, but that's a problem for when I return.
I think Muhammad will do well.
So do I. Yes, so it's not to get down to brass tacks, but is there anything you can tell me about behind the scenes of what might be going on in South Korea at the moment with your connections? Have you heard anything?
He's just kind of quiet for a moment and just kind of like staring at you, like maybe kind of like looking for the way to kind of the angle to kind of like press on to make you not do this, and then it's kind of like Not a lot, to be honest. Not really
I didn't think so.
my part of the world anymore. I just know that although there's a ceasefire, there are still pretty frequent raids across the border, secret, of course, but a lot of spies moving back and forth. And I've heard that the mages there are pretty shook up. You know, they had their sanctuary-like thing and sort of split in half now.
And sit, look, I think I'm better equipped than either Legends or Fish to upsell where I'm about to go into. But, sorry, that plane's very loud. But yes, rearranges the cutlery again. I'm obviously very unimpressed with how outmove this is, but what can you do? When your friends need help, you go help them.
Yeah. No, I guess you do. Just, if I could give you some advice, you know, stay in the south, don't go anywhere near the border. You know, even Seoul is pretty close to the border, so stay to the south if you can. Situation there is at least somewhat stable, and I know you can take care of yourself, but if you need me, call me. I may not be able to go, but I will find someone who can. And
I will.
Make sure you're not having any flight stopovers in Pakistan or Yemen. Certainly not China. Still a lot of fighting in there from the revolution. Just south of South Korea, and then head right back. All right.
I'll do my best. In her head is already like, why do I get the feeling the moment we land, we're gonna end up in North Korea?
You actually, just so you're clear, are already kind of lying because you know you're going to Seoul, which is pretty close to the border.
Exactly. That's why Maeve's like, well, I already know my guts we're gonna end up across the border because that's just how it's gonna be. But yeah. She's bending the truth a little bit because she's really hoping that won't happen and it won't be a lie. She will do her best.
She's hoping that if she lies now, it'll then not be a lie later.
Yeah,
something will change.
She's just hoping that she won't need to lie. And holds his hand and says, I'll be as careful as I can be. I guess in this sort of reluctant smile of we both know my careful is not as careful as
he full on goes, May, I love you. We both know that your careful is not particularly.
I mean, but it's worked so well for me, Sinner. I mean, look at you. I wasn't particularly careful with you. Ended up very well for me.
That is a point. Honestly, you could have stood to be a little more careful with me.
Oh, absolutely, I could have.
I shot myself in the arm.
Well, that was your choice. I mean, I didn't ask you to do that.
Well, choice. Well, if it's going to be our last night together for how long? A couple days? 2-3 days?
Probably closer to a week.
Well, why don't we make a night of it then? Finish our food, maybe go dancing a bit.
Oh, if you insist. I don't particularly have to thinking that.
Yes, no, that's also what he's implying. He's definitely carrying May over the threshold, making out, and then oh shit, they're in our house.
I'm going to be really funny to say that May forget to tell him that they're in the house. She's just really eager to like spend the time with him, forget about this whole thing for a couple of hours, slips her mind entirely unless he asks her, where are
Okay.
collagenous and fish?
Here's my suggestion. They get home at the door. It's like, all right, we're gonna be having the time, and Fish and Cal are just hanging out, and Fish goes, "Oh fuck!" and just grabs her and jumps out the window because they have the instinct for this sort of thing. And it's
Yeah.
like, no, we can't we gotta get out of here ASAP. Don't worry
Yeah.
about it.
No, what happens is it's like the key in the lock noise, and Cal perks her head up, and she goes, "Oh, they're," and like Cal and Gekino both have like, "Oh, they're coming home," and Fish goes, "Fuck!"
Yeah, we gotta get out of here immediately.
Yes. So we're jumping through the window. Thank you.
All right. That means that after a very fun and passionate night, a lot of dancing, a lot of quick kisses on the dance floor.
I think that we should have Fish and Collisionist roll to see if they actually make it out the window in time.
Oh, I'm gonna make them. I'm just describing getting to the door before we say what
Yeah.
happens. Sinner has his one arm wrapped around you, the other big hand running over your stomach as he leans down and kisses you at the door. Just kind of fumbles blindly into the lock, unlocks it, almost pushes you across the threshold. Now, you're going out the window. Let's get an acrobatics check from both of you.
Oh,
What'd you get?
I got a 18.
Wow.
13.
All right, not bad, not bad.
Tumble vaults out the window like an
Wait.
Olympian.
No, Kekino can't give advantage. He's just a little baby boy.
In fact,
Advantage.
Kekino does not give you advantage because he cannot climb, and if someone
No, he
does
can't.
not specifically grab Kekino to help him out, he is not going to be able to leave.
Fish unsummons him.
Okay.
Yeah.
Kekino just kind of goes whoop, and just like not like a popping soap bubble, but just kind of like just like disappears. To Kekino's perspective, he's kind of like la, 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 crayons, crayons, crayons. Oh, somebody's at the door. Boop, and then he's just kind of like in Fish's mind, like watching Fish like try to push themselves out the window, and goes, "Dad, what's happening? Dad?"
Yeah, Cal's getting manhandled, and he's like, "Is there a threat? What is happening?"
Yep. Threat to their love life, and it's us.
Oh, no. And at the point, I think the 17 kicks in, and she's suddenly like scrambling on her own.
Yes. Fish is with a 13, trying to get out with a certain amount of grace. You know, not like stretch and hurt yourself too much, which makes it a little slow. Cal is like a cat that you've warned is going to go in the bath. You've started turning on the water. She's just like a slippery little out the window and gone. As the door unlocks and opens and get pushed in, I'm gonna need May to roll a perception check with disadvantage.
May
Sex.
rolls. Ray rolls performance for sex, as Fish has been the only one to do so far.
I mean, my disadvantage still ends up with a 14 for me.
Yeah, I will say that
I think at the moment May steps in the door, May is like, wait, shit, where are they? Yeah.
I think Sorry, I gotta grab Sinner's stats really fast because I know what he rolled, but I need to see the adjustment. Okay. Okay, good. Perception is not particularly good, which means that is a nat 20, but that was the higher roll. So an 18 that then gets modified to a 17. What happens is you're getting hot and heavy. Careless Whisper is playing in the background, even though it hasn't been invented yet. It hasn't been
That's
written.
Fish's magic.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're
Yeah.
getting in, and then you both look and see depressions in the seats, tons of necromantic paperwork, a coloring page with a bunch of crayons. Fish has been probably making themselves a sandwich. Like tons of evidence that people were just here.
Yeah.
Like the crayons are still rolling across the page from Kekenoving unsummoned. as you both walk in and just go, oh.
Right.
Sinner looks at you and then very quietly says, so I guess a hotel isn't an option for them.
I've got to be honest, I thought you would be in a much worse mood. Didn't see this as a possibility.
Yeah, well,
I forgot about it entirely.
I guess mood's changed a little bit.
Yeah.
Why don't you come out?
They're gone.
Yeah, no,
Across
Cal
the city
is
window,
pulling out
opens
like
it.
the dancing lights and is like, I guess we'll just sleep outside.
If you are genuinely running into the night, just like absolutely ditch, then there's no response. Neighborhood dog, sounds of dinner. Eh?
Sorry.
And she's gone.
Yeah.
Sorry, man.
What time is it, by the way?
It's probably like 9 or so local time.
They had early dinner.
We're fine.
Yeah, I'm back.
Yeah.
Sorry. Yeah, they like if she's opening the window and sees no one outside, she's like, now on the one hand, I feel like I should be a good host and invite them back. On the other, if they're gone, I mean, really,
Yeah.
the least I could do is make use of the time that I have left with you for the week, especially with how out of impromptu this whole thing was.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. I mean, if they're gone, they're gone. Picks you up,
Excellent. And then he pushes him
smashes
into
you
the-
against the wall. Yeah.
Yeah. When it's over, they will probably like call Cal and be like, "I'm really sorry about that. Kind of forgot I invited you guys back. Here's the address for."
It's like, Cal, I'm sorry, don't come back. There's a dessert place around the corner. You'll really like it.
Maybe embarrassed later. At the moment, she's like, being fine. We would have stopped. We're not animals.
Yeah. If they were here, we would have stopped, but they're not, so
Yeah.
it's all right.
Yeah.
Cal is without her
Fish gave
paperwork.
their blessing. Otherwise, they would have stayed.
Cal is without her paperwork, and that is honestly the only thing she's particularly sad about in the situation.
Yeah. All right. We fade to black for a period of time.
Yeah. I think it's a period of time. You know, like a good period.
Yeah,
Yeah.
respectful.
No, I think
Sanima.
you know, fade to black for a period of time. We cut in to talking about how May needs to stay safe and some precautions she could take. Fade to black for another period of time, and then and then
Cut to Fish and Cal sitting out at it's 2 a.m. And Fish is like, So this thing with tractate, it's it's for serious, is it?
I'm still seeing him, yes.
Mm-hmm.
How much you see?
What are you seeing of him?
Yeah, good for you.
Yeah, you're having a nice cake flavored with dates, and Kekino is also there going. He's just got like an icing smeared on his face. He's just like asleep at the table.
I think Cal gives him
Back
a
to the
pet.
black.
Yeah. And it's like, certainly they must be done by now.
you do like movie cuts, and it just keeps cutting back
Yeah,
to like a black
the train.
screen
Yep.
with squeaking springs, and then cutting back to them and being like, I guess not yet.
Yeah, Fish uses their fourth wall breaking to be like, nope.
An omniscient narrator is like, no, I guess we'll stay over here for a while.
Yeah.
Eventually, you come back home. The guest bedroom is
Yeah,
made up for you.
Denier, I'm powered by connection magic.
Cal grimaces, but you can't see him just being like, I guess that has a good use in very specific situations like this.
And I'm just saying, if you want to, debut our performance in the guest room.
Is this a guest bedroom? There was only one bad situation.
So I was going to say, I've been thinking about this for the past 5 minutes. When they get back, May would have actually taken 5 minutes to tidy up everything. Like, Collision's paperwork would have been beautifully tidy, kept in order. Like, Kekino's crayons, papers, like cups of like mugs out with tea bags, has made the couch and the spare bedroom. In his mind, Collisions is taking the spare bedroom.
Yeah.
Whether or not that happens is another issue entirely.
Yeah, there's a bedroom and there's a couch. There is only one bed in the bedroom, but it's up to you. I'm just imagining like hot and heavy, banging and slamming, move into the bedroom, door closes. Couple seconds later, door opens. May runs back out with a shirt off and starts like picking up paperwork and like putting it off to the side. So it's like, oh god, fast, hurry, hurry.
Yeah, I think Cal brings. I think Kekno is asleep, so Cal, when they come back,
he's jet lagged too.
Yeah, Cal like goes to put Kekno in Fish's arms, and is like, is May present or is just like asleep?
So my thing would be whether May literally sheepishly come back, or whether she'd be like, it's really late, I guess they found somewhere else. Because in May's head, she would have just come back by now and smack on the door and be like, am I fucking allowed in or what? So she would have made everything up and probably left the door like unlocked.
Yeah.
In whatever way it makes sense. And it's just like, okay, I guess I'm going to sleep. Weird, but okay. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Everything's made up already nice for them though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So gives Fish the sleeping Kekno and goes, are you alright with the couch?
Oh, yeah, I've slept worse. Are you alright with the tractate?
Does that have to do with the couch?
I'm just making conversation.
Yes, we're doing fine.
Okay, I'm glad. It's just, I worry about you sometimes, didn't you?
Oh, you really show that. And then I think she does catch herself and she goes, I'm sorry, that was out of turn. I am tired. I'm going to go to sleep.
Then take the boy.
No, I think he should stay with you. I don't think I should be encouraging this mollusk-like behavior for when we separate again. It'll make it more difficult for him.
Ignoring this entirely, Fish like just gently pushes Kekino, like she's offering him, and just like nah,
Yeah.
fucking
Kekino is just like a loose sack of seal being passed back and forth.
Cal will take him and then look at Fish and say, "Good night."
good night.
May opens the door and it's like, I sense tension.
I would say May would be up first thing out of all of them, right? Unless the others have become early risers as well.
Most likely, unfortunately, Sinner would be up first. It's just kind of a
Right,
thing
yeah.
of being like both his job needing some early mornings, but also he's not sleeping well. You know, I don't think you're necessarily together every night because sometimes work takes him late and stuff like that. But when you do, you know, he wakes up a couple of times a night, and usually, you know, pretty early in the morning, he just kind of calls it and starts getting ready for the day. He's pretty sleep deprived, and it is from one of these nightmares that he shoots up awake.
Does he wake up May?
I think he is really trying not to. You can do a roll about it or see how deep of a sleeper May is, but I think he is honestly kind of like training himself at this point to like not startle as much awake to not disturb May.
Okay, May, should we say perception?
Yeah, say perception with disadvantage because you're asleep.
That's true. I imagine May is one of those people who, like a soldier, can fall asleep anywhere and
Yeah.
sleeps deep. Yeah. Well, that was a nat 20 on the first. So.
She slept standing on her feet after the egg room.
Yeah.
She did. Yeah. Okay. Not so good. That's a 12 for the second. Do 20s have any effect on disadvantage today?
They don't matter when you get disadvantage unless you get two nat 20s. With a 12, I'd say you kind of stir a little bit, you know, a little, not like shooting up awake, but you kind of wake up, and Sinner just listens for a moment and whispers to you, "I think the others just got in. Go back to sleep, love."
No, May takes his hand and like still kind of sleepy, like rubbing at the eyes. It's like, it's the nightmare again.
Yeah, it's getting worse. Stress, I assume.
Tries to talk him back to bed. Yes, and I read somewhere that even lying down with your eyes closed, it's also restful. You should just come back to bed.
Well, I know if I get up, you're gonna get up, so might as well. And just kind of like curls back around you and goes to sleep for a little bit longer. The next morning, bright and early, you wake up. That Sinner's greatest restlessness when he kind of like just gets up for the day is also that time, you know, just before the sun rises where you're sleeping deep. So you often wake up without him next to you as he's out making coffee. And I assume the others sleep in a little bit.
I'm gonna say Cal's
Uh,
probably jet lagged, and Kekino, anytime she's like starting to get up, Kekino is using any like psychic powers to push to like curl up under her
Yeah.
like chin and go sleep, 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 sleep. So then she does it.
Your bed is so warm and soft, and you feel so comfortable. Go back to sleep.
Okay, so Cinna comes out of the bedroom and he like puts on the coffee and like
Mhm.
goes off to the bathroom. Fish is asleep when he comes out, but when he returns to finish up the coffee, Fish is over at the window going like to not smoke, to not get a smoke in the apartment, and then sees him and just throws it. It's like, oh hey man, good morning.
Hey, Fish, we didn't get the chance to chat yesterday. Sorry about that.
That's all right. You had more important things going on.
Yeah.
Nothing to do.
Yeah, you know, my job has been keeping me pretty busy.
Mhm.
Yeah, I'd appreciate it if you stepped outside for a smoke. You know, a lot of our windows don't have glass, just kind of wooden shades, but you know, the smell still kind of flows back in.
All right. I will keep that in mind for the future.
Yeah, no problem. So, South Korea.
Yeah, real important mission going on. But don't worry, it is so not near the north of it. It is we are in the south of the South Korea.
Give me a deception check. That's a nat 20.
Blocked the fuck in about this whole situation.
18.
Even if it wasn't a nat 20 rules, that would still be a 19, and he still would have got you. You just see the shift instantly. You've known Sinner in kind of two roles now. There's been, you know, working muscle Sinner at the ruins, and then boyfriend Sinner following around May like a particularly large dog. Now you get to see security Sinner. He just shuts down, face becomes entirely neutral, and says, really? South of South Korea. Interesting. Where exactly? Busan?
Fish just goes, so
Yeah. Yeah, that's what I thought.
it's pretty far down though.
It's really not.
Are they talking quietly?
It's a quiet but very like intense conversation of being like, you know, we're both aware that people are sleeping, but also we're like getting a little bit louder than we should.
Yeah. Fuck it. Fish goes, we can book another seat on the flight, or maybe you'll need two.
Fish, let me be very clear with you. Kind of like leans on the windowsill next to you, of being like, not overtly threatening, but very like in your space, being like,
Yeah.
my current responsibilities means that I need to stay here and work, because sometimes people have jobs where it's important for them to continue to do things and not just fuck off into the woods for long periods of time. Yeah. So let me make sure that you are and I are clear on this issue. If anything happens to May, I'm taking it out of your ass.
Good.
Just like makes a fist and all of his knuckles crack, and he goes, good. Glad we understand each other. Always nice to see you, Fish. And goes and starts making some breakfast.
How do you take your edge to sunny side up? Please swaps now. You're in that mode.
You eventually all get up, have a nice breakfast. Sinner actually kind of needs to run, but for just a moment, he pulls May aside and just has a very whispered conversation with her. The two of you could probably listen in if you wanted to, but I'd make you do a roll about it. Sinner just sort of pulls you to the side and says, Fish actually said you're going to Seoul, not to the southern end of the peninsula.
Okay, I want to pause for a second. Maybe I'm just so fucking out of it. I don't remember May specifically saying where she was going to be, just that it was in South Korea and she was going to try not to be up north.
Yes, that's what he's saying,
Yeah.
of being kind of like it's this kind of like thing of being like, oh, I think Fish may have lied to you. You're actually going to be closer to North Korea than you thought. Let's see what her response to this is, in case she was lying to me.
So my thing was that May wasn't lying about being in Seoul. She was literally meaning, I'm going to try not to cross the border. That's what she was more saying.
And the Sinner was very saying, like, I don't want you to get close to the border, even on the south side.
Yeah, to which May would be like, well, I don't know what to tell you. It seems like we're going to be in that area. Go beyond it. But yeah, she wouldn't have been straight up like, we're not going to be anywhere near it. Yet. We might later, but not now.
That's why he's not accusing you, but is just kind of implying.
Yeah. May would basically be like, I didn't think I implied otherwise. Like, May would try and clear that up, but she would also be like, kind of like, yeah, I get the feeling that there's probably more going on than they know about, so it doesn't surprise me that already we're off to a bad start there.
Yeah. Just please be careful.
Yeah, May like reaches up and cups his face and like pulls her forehead to his and is like,
kind of like grabs your hand, rubs it a little bit, so you feel the scratch of the new beard, and is just like, all right, I love you.
I love you too, Sinner.
South Korea and straight back.
I'll do my best.
Cal is wearing her partial veil to eat, and so therefore you can see her grimacing into her face. You see the like PDA, and she's like, "Ah."
Yeah, they've gotten like a little close to each other. Cupping the face. Sinner probably goes down and kisses her forehead. Cal goes.
And then they would be like, all right, off you go to work. I'll keep in touch. I'll have your stone with me.
Always. And he's off. Yeah.
He slaps him on the ass as he
Ooh, hey now.
Closes the door.
Don't start something you can't finish.
And then May is pretty much not going to interact with the others together a bit, and we'll just go and pack. And I was going to say, if she has any books or anything on Korea, or even books that allude to Korea, because I kind of feel like May, by virtue of being English, would know a lot more about China, comparatively, but would have a vague sense of Korea by proxy.
Yeah, I think because you've kind of been traveling light, so to speak, you've moved a bunch of times in the last like year and a half. I think like if you have books on Korea, they're probably like in England, in the summer house.
All right. However, she also has Cat.
Yeah.
The repository of knowledge. I like to think that Cat has somewhat become an audiobook.
Yeah.
She just flip through Cat and be like, oh yeah, that book mentioned it. Like a really a less impressive version of Jamal's book magic.
Mm-hmm. No, that makes a certain amount of sense to me.
Yeah.
Give me let's say,
and I want to do 2 checks, if that's okay.
Okay, what checks did you want to make?
The first one was going to be the general one that you're about to have me roll. I want to have a separate one using repository of knowledge for like anything about the ancients and the root warden to do with Korea.
Okay. Then give me 2 history checks. First one for Korea generally, and second one for the cat feature.
My history bonus. Oh, that was a net 1, but it brings it up to a 10 with my history bonus at the moment.
It's this, yeah, it's still not great.
No.
Um,
Hang on. Oh, no, it's history check. Sorry, wait, hang on.
you
Give me a
can
sec.
use Flash of Genius,
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
which gets it to a 13, but is also still a natural one.
Yeah, but I mean, the 13 compared, surely that makes up for it. A little.
Yeah, just a little.
Mm.
Essentially, what you recall is yes, most of your readings has been on China or Russia or some other things that are kind of like in the general area.
Mm.
Um, uh, and so a lot of the knowledge you get from Korea is incidental. Of just like China owned and operated Korea for a very long time. North Korea was taken over by the Russians for a long period of time. Things like that. Um, you get like a general sense of the history. It was a number of kingdoms that eventually became more unified, and then it was owned by a bunch of different people. It's still very close culturally to China in many ways, and part of the North Korean issue is kind of China believing they still have some sort of claim over the whole of Korea. Um, but you don't get a lot of specifics about like who, what, when, where, kind of stuff. You with a 13, some of the more recent military things. You know about uh, the the Western world's kind of influence in the Korean War and how it went back and forth and left most of the peninsula devastated. And magically, what you just know is there are not a ton of sorcerers, but the magic that is very common is kind of sorcerer adjacent. Um, and that the sanctuary, equivalent that they have um, is called the Sacred House of the Dragon, and it has been like their sanctuary equivalent. Sanctuaries the world over have existed for 40 years at most. Some of the kind of pre sanctuary stuff during the war is like, well, we called it the sanctuary for the last 30 years, but it's actually been like 100 years that we've been an organization. There is some like proto sanctuary organizations that are like 300 or 400 years old. Genuinely, um, the House of the Dragon dates back to like 200 AD. It's very
Yeah.
old, and in many ways, like the in many ways the like example of a lot of these Asian organizations um, is the one of the inspirations for the sanctuary system of kind of being like, well, they can do it, so um, uh, we can do something similar. Um, and yeah, that's about all you get with a
I mean, that's a solid overview, though, generally,
yes,
which is better
yeah.
than
It's
nothing.
it's
Yeah.
it's very like light generally, but yes, the Heavenly
Yeah.
House of the Dragon. And yeah, 13 is high enough. I'll say it's also called the Peninsular House because it's the Korean Peninsula.
Yeah.
And that there's some ties there with like the Chinese magical community, but you don't really remember what it is. Other than that, you think their people are also Heavenly House of is like their organization. Um, yeah, and now a repository of knowledge. That means give me a history check with advantage for
Yeah.
the ancients in Korea.
Okay. I'm going to boost this bad boy. So with advantage, That brings it to a 17, but I'm going to boost it with Flash of Genius to a dirty 20.
Okay, using
It's
2 of
gonna
your 3
replenish
flashes
my
of
next
genius
session.
immediately.
Well, I'm
Yeah,
to be overplayed. Long rest.
yeah, a dirty 20. You know that there is actually a pretty decent presence of the ancients in the Korean Peninsula. There have been 5 sites that have been found in various levels of completeness. One of the digs that was kind of like your inspiration to start working on the ancients and not just doing mortal archaeology was in South Korea before the ruins that you discovered and then decided to downplay. It was probably the second largest and like most complete site found in the world, and it's a decent way south in the mountains of South Korea. But there are a number of sites that are also in North Korea. There's nothing in your research or the your history to say that like Korea is particularly dense in sites or things like that, but certainly a lot have been found. So that's there's actually where a lot of a lot of digs are done, a lot of research is done. You're the first ancient site you found in Egypt, probably like uh, 35, 40 years ago at this point, was probably like only like the third site ever found in Africa or something like that. Asia was kind of the heart of those digs for a long time. And yeah, there's a lot of ancient influence. You'd also know that one of the root warden's maps was pointing to somewhere in Korea. It seemed to be, from your recollection, being familiar with the area, kind of middle of the peninsula. Maybe it's in the north, maybe it's in the south, but it just kind of like not an either tip. But yeah, you don't have anything more specific than that. Because of this experience and kind of previous expertise, you could go through like the sites that have been discovered and been like, okay, I can definitively say it's none of these that it was pointing to. It's an undiscovered one, or there's one that's like kind of sort of generally in the right area in North Korea that it's like, it seems like a complete site, but maybe if you dig down underneath it, there's more to it that hasn't been discovered. But that's kind of like, yeah, maybe.
Okay. I think May's going to, in that case, not worry about bringing books of paperwork. Obviously, we'll bring Cat. And is going to change up one of her infusions at the moment.
Nice. Which one are you changing?
I'm changing Featherweight Belt to Skyfall Harness.
Okay.
Because we're going to be potentially in the mountains.
You're going to potentially be in the mountains, and you can use that as a parachute and jump out of this airplane.
Goddamn right I
can. Yeah, sounds great. Just mark that in your sheet.
I also did want to say, because this is the only point that breakfast was the only point that Sinner and Cal would have seen each other. Caligulus was definitely like, Mr. Drum. As warm and friendly as she always is with him.
And he says, hey, cleric, I read that book you were talking about last time. Seemed interesting, and I think I've got a new one. I'm working through it pretty slowly. We're pretty busy around here, but I think I'll, at least so far, I think I recommend it to you.
Well, I'm very busy, but maybe when this is all settled and I have time to read recreationally again, I'll consider it. I also imagine this is happening as Sinner is like loading her plate up with the food, like eggs cooked the way she likes it and stuff.
Yes. Eggs the way she likes it, texturally consistent, bacon extra crispy. Yes. No, once again, the Sinner and Cal relationship, Sinner feels like they're friends. Cal is the one who doesn't.
Yep.
And yeah, May's just now going to start like generally packing. If the others want to talk to her, they can, but she's kind of just collecting herself.
All right.
Fish went outside to eat breakfast and smoke also.
Okay, oh God. Well, I will say, I think watches Fish leave and goes over to May while she's packing, and then just like sits, like crisscross, like sits like daintily on like, how at the end of beds, I'm imagining those little like benches.
Yeah.
And she's like,
bed trunk, blanket chest.
we have to do something about that.
You mean the odor they're emitting constantly? Yes, I quite agree.
I don't.
Also, the health. Obviously, the health issues. But
it is a miracle that Kekino does not smell like cigarette smoke.
agreed. I don't mind the smell of proper tobacco. I can tolerate, but these newfangled cigarettes just ugh. No, thank you.
Disgusting.
The filter? Ugh.
Ugh.
You can't even feel the tar in your lungs.
It's disgusting.
I'm old school. I smoke a pipe.
I just don't know how to reverse
cigars. Thank you. Sorry, go on.
I don't know how to reverse it. Kekino says that he tried to get rid of them, but his father gets very upset. Apparently, this was picked up after the Isle breakup. I don't know what to do.
Kekino did not say he tried to get Fish to
That was
quit.
how got out of it, yeah.
Yeah. Kekino has not tried to get Fish to quit, or really totally understands that something is wrong with it,
Yeah.
other than people like you don't like it.
Megan's like folding shirts and everything, and she's like, yes, they in their letters they very much have avoided talking about Isle. Which kind of says more than if they had just straight up said that they're down about it. But it's not good.
I only learned day before yesterday.
What, they didn't mention? What do you mean? Wait, can May roll to figure out Stitch has not been sending Cal letters?
Yeah, I mean, I will say she's not going to lie about it.
Yeah. Puts it together herself. Would that just be like intelligence? Just straight intelligence?
Insight or something.
Or let's say wisdom.
Okay, yeah. Bumps that up to a 10. Flash of genius. I'm using this for a long rest. Yeah, that's a 10.
Okay. That is, I mean, enough to know that, like, something is wrong. Like, Cal is a little more out of the loop than should be, but not necessarily, like, Fish is not talking to Cal.
Yeah, okay. In that case, May will be like, they didn't mention it to you at all?
They didn't mention much of anything. Our interactions have has been regulated to, well, when they're in Canada, they'll leave Kekino on my doorstep with a note. That has happened a few times in the last year and a half or so. And that is it. They responded to a letter or two at the beginning when I was first writing them to Kekino after establishing the temple, and then it just seemed so sporadic, and then it didn't quite seem worth the effort, and obviously we never got along in the first place, so no, we haven't been speaking.
Sorry, just to confirm, I feel like I'm missing something. No letters at all, is what you're saying.
I mean, there were one or two from them, but no, not in a very long time.
And how often do we reckon Fish is responding to May's letters or calls or whenever the primary, like a monthly, bi-monthly sort of thing?
Okay, say she calls once a month. They write her back whenever she writes.
Yeah.
Whenever.
Okay. Yeah. May's like, I don't understand. I'm regularly in contact with them. Like, letters all the time.
Well, good for you.
What's going on?
Good. That's good for you, mate. We never got along like that. It's not that surprising.
Oh, don't get me wrong, Glitches. I've had to work at this a little bit. It wasn't. I thought that you were towards the end. And I mean, we went up, like, to road trip to the temple before, everyone went off. It seemed well enough.
Cal shakes her head and she goes, we are united in dire circumstances. There is a dire circumstance, so here we are in the same situation. When there is not one, there's really no reason to. It's fine. I understand. It's frustrating, but at least I provided a bribe.
Meg's gonna roll insight, like, to see if Cal's holding anything back. Not because she distrusts Cal, she's just kind of like, what the fuck is going on?
Yeah.
That is that's 2. Yeah, that's a 15.
Patrick, you can kind of guide me if you need to, but I think the only thing that she's really holding back of just, like, genuinely, she's telling you everything about it is of the details, but what she's holding back is that very much of a, like, I didn't like you anyways kind of attitude. That's
holding back the pain of that to a certain extent. Being like, I don't really care. It's sad, but I don't care that much. And then it's like, no, yeah, I actually care quite a bit.
Yeah.
And I think a 15 is enough to get at least, like, a sense of that, if not necessarily plumb its entire depths. And, it's the kind of thing of being like, May also understands as part of that, being like, Cal herself doesn't realize necessarily that this really hurt her.
Yeah, I think May, in, like, May's mental to-do list, and and it says, at my earliest convenience and when appropriate, chew the fuck out of fish for this.
Yeah.
But in the present, just, like, takes Cal's hand and is like, I'm really sorry, Clutches. Well, I would have expected more of them.
No, don't apologize. They were in my temple for a day and a half, and they were causing problems, trying to smoke indoors. It is really for the best that they chose to go on their own path, and I am just grateful that they were able to figure out having Kekano visit and helping him with sending letters and such. It is all right. You don't have to apologize for anything. I am grateful for it.
May, like, pats her hand, returns to packing. At this point is going to... I didn't say this to you, Patrick, codes for me in the moment, that I would like the shared sensory stone to be a necklace. Okay. She's going to put that on. Whether or not Cal sees or comments is another issue, whether anyone does, but let it be known she's wearing it. And I don't know, just, like, finish up packing. I imagine May has, like, a solid day pack, basically, so she can, like a traveling backpack.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I think while all of this conversation is happening, Fish is outside smoking and eating. As you go outside, you realize, like, eating outside in front of your house is a part of the culture here. A lot of people, like, drag out tables and chairs and stuff and hang out, visit their neighbors and things. So you are actually, like, among people. People are chatting with you, also smoking, like, hand-rolled cigarettes and chat you up, make friends with seemingly a new neighbor or just a white face in town living next to them. Kekano is probably diving into a plate of eggs on the table, and they're like, "You let your dog stand on the table?" But
Yeah, don't you?
One of the guys, one of the like mid-level bureaucrats, is looking at his dog that he's feeding down below, and it's like, should I let my dog on the table? Am I abusing my dog by not letting him on the table? It's clearly what he wants.
Don't you think he'd like to really, like, look you in the eye? Have you considered that?
No, I usually when he doesn't want to look me in the eye because he's done something bad, chewed my shoes again. So no,
And why do you
actually,
think he's acting out?
that's a good point. All right, let's just like he picks up this kind of mixed breed, indeterminate, medium-sized dog, sets it on the table. Dog is immediately fighting for its balance.
Beast speech. How do you feel about this bud? How do you feel about this bud?
I'm so tall now, and the food is right here.
I think. I think
I'm so tall
you're
now.
beginning to make.
The food is right here. I
Is
can't
the
have
food vibrating?
I can't have the food. The food makes me bad. But it's so close now. It's so close now, and I can just have a taste.
I think you're on your way to making some real headway with your dog here.
Yeah, thanks. That turns around to talk to you. Dog immediately like breaks and starts going at the plate. No, bad. You have your own food. Yeah, not an entirely sad time, but I will say, give me an Arcana check.
17.
17. You feel a little bit of strain, a little bit of tension in the threads leading to May and Cal, as each have realized the lack of care, lack of effort that you were going through. Just a little tightening of that connection. As of course these threads are so much closer to the surface and your magic more in reach for you. You do anything about it? Look a little deeper, or just feel that weakening and moving on?
We are going to look into it. I would like to also voice a thought that Fish is having, which is that they really want to just sit and frankly bask in the presence of both Cal and May. Just to fucking look at them and just to be like, yeah, here we all are. Here you guys are. Isn't that great? But then they feel weird about it, and so it's like I can't even look at you.
Yeah. And it's also the kind of thing of being like, when you would be taking that time is kind of when you're smoking and they don't want to be around you when you're doing that. It's, yeah.
Exactly. But like, yeah, they totally haven't put the effort into maintaining these relationships over the past 2 years. May better, but Cal
Yeah.
much worse.
But you
it's
can
really
feel that,
just like
you can feel that weakening of being like, oh, May realizing that you were not keeping up with Cal and such. And because this is such like a part of your magic, you realize you actually feel how that like kind of echoes in your magic a little bit.
it makes me feel bad,
Yeah.
and I would just like to fucking sit with the ladies and get comfortable with them again, to sit in silence and not have it be weird and look them in the eyes. Cal especially.
In a super normal way.
In a
Totally
super
normal.
normal way.
Not for any specific reason.
Yeah. Well, May's eyes are super cool. We love to look into them
Yeah.
because, like, they're cat eyes. How fucking sick is that? They really okay. We gotta remember to compliment May on that more, but at an appropriate time. And also, Fish can't remember the exact shade of brown the Cals were, and it's eating them up inside. Shall we look deeper at the threads?
It's up to you.
I would like to.
All right. We'll just use the same Arcana roll. So 17, which is enough to give you emotional insight on your recent interactions with them. You see, you can essentially see the like new thread being created in the new color of what your relationship is like. So I think that's up to the two of you to say, the last few days, what's been going through your mind? What's your relationship with fish?
You go first.
I was gesturing for you. We're fine. I think in general there is like a wall there, of just being like, hey, remember they're bribing you to do this, and this is gonna go right back to how it was before. It's like it's not even a fair weather friend. It's I'm in a crisis and we're all hands on deck friend, and
I mean,
therefore
Bad weather friend.
yeah, genuinely a foul weather friend is a phrase. That's the opposite of a fair weather friend. Yeah.
interesting. And she is trying to build a wall to remember that. But I do think, especially like the last night when it ended up just being like wandering with their son, they're being collective, and they were just in this like foreign city, and like I think an idea of being like we're in this annoying sexile position together, and also that like any of Cal's anxiety about being in a strange city by herself was kind of alleviated by Fish very clearly being so well adapted to just take care of themselves in any situation, know the language and be able to get along and laugh with people even if there wasn't a shared language, and order their cake, and that like admiration and gratitude for that. I think because that was their last real interaction, that would be they would be the wall, and then the gratefulness and the appreciation of the evening they had had, and Fish just being so adept at being able to adapt, or adept at being adapt. I'm getting my language right.
How does Fish feel viewing this more closely and seeing these mixed emotions of, care and being impressed and comfortable mixed with wariness and things like that? And then right as those positive emotions are really like working their way in there, seeing the thread start to thin just a little bit as May finds out that you were keeping up with, as Cal finds out that you were keeping up with May and other people and just specifically targeting her. Your relationship seems to weaken just a little bit.
So Fish and Cal both have this thing where they're looking at each other and being like, "Well, you don't like me. You don't like me at all." But so Fish is at this thing where it's like, I would like to make more of an effort, but one, she doesn't like it when I do that, and two, when I pull away, that also makes things worse. And so it's apart from bothering her about Jamal, I would like to say that like they put in the effort to just be making sure that she was comfortable around like town last night, and anyway, it sucks. That's the answer. It sucks.
All right. I think with the recent Porphyry and the kind of recognition and understanding of your magic, I think maybe Fish is starting to confront a truth that they have known but avoided for a long time, which is that they have a certain amount of control over the quality of their relationships. Not.
Yep.
I don't think necessarily to the point of being like, well, this is entirely my fault or something, but being like, I'm like looking at the timeline of like me doing nice things for Cal and then her getting hurt and the relationship getting worse, and I could affect that in some way. Obviously, it's probably mostly Cal's fault, but I can affect that in some way.
Yeah.
And what does
I
May feel?
also I also wanted to say with regard to the Porphyry, where it's like, yeah, and you didn't even invite us, and she's like, but you were there. Oh wait, no, you weren't.
Yeah, you were there. I was avoiding you there too. Wait, no.
Sorry, May.
So I think overall May thinks that thought that things were quite good between her and Fish, but them arriving out of the blue, she understands it's out of their control, but she's still kind of like about it. Not just telling her that they needed her help, like doing this whole roundabout thing of like, oh, it's this like great adventure. Like if they had just said from the start, hey, I really need your help, she would have been like, I'm there, let's do it. So that's kind of like, she doesn't really understand that. Then, yeah, finding out that she wasn't invited to the, sorry, how's it pronounced? Porphyry? Porphyry?
Yes.
Porphyry.
Yes.
Porphyry. She's really kind of like, oh, like, why would they think I would want to be there? Of course she would want to be there. And then the cherry on the top is the whole, like, what do you mean you haven't been in contact with collisionists for the last 2 years? What are you talking about? So, yeah, she's very confused and, like, really disappointed in them, I guess, like, in that sort of, like, older sister way where, like, hey, like, I thought you were kind of past this, being like this. Yeah.
Yep.
It's also probably in Fish's internal reasoning that kind of like fucked up thing about being like, well, obviously May would want to come to the ceremony, and she's busy and on the other side of the world, so really it's a good thing that I didn't invite her, because then she would feel obligated to come, and it's like, that logic doesn't actually hang together, but yeah, okay.
Yes. And also, it's like, well, you see, May, my character development can't happen off screen, because then that's not interesting.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, for sure. But she doesn't know that she's in a D&D game, alas, so yeah.
Things would be so much easier.
Yeah, to get confusion and disappointment. And also, classic May determination to be like, right, well, I'm going to make this right somehow. I'm going to stick my nose in at some point later.
Yeah, my next project is to get them to like each other again.
Yeah.
And Fish, like, first of all, Sinner is legit scary, but he also makes a point, and Fish does care about May's safety and continuing to live and all some such things. It's not just like, oh no, he's gonna break my legs. It's more like,
Yeah.
oh yeah, I am putting my friend in danger.
Mm-hmm.
That's bad of me, but also I need my friend because I love my friend. I would never say this,
Of course not.
but I love my friend.
Do you examine Sinner's threat at all when you're thinking this?
While we're here, sure.
You see that your promise to keep May safe has had a little bit of a magic effect on your connection. There's a little bit of an anchoring there, a tensioning of being like, your promise actually did have an effect on you, and
Yeah, that
and
was
that
a
relationship.
vow and everything.
Yeah,
Mm.
and that if you break it, it's gonna go real bad. But if you keep it, it's gonna be stronger. And unfortunately, that is also probably the realization of like, God, my words have meaning now. That sucks.
Yeah. I was always just saying shit and not meaning any of it.
And it's not just that like I just, this just happened. I just found this out. The things I was saying had meaning the whole time.
The whole
That's
time.
awful. Yeah. Yes, correct. It's not like, binding, but it does have power.
Yeah.
And, yeah, anything else you want to examine about the threads while you kind of have them active in here?
No, but I'll say for the recording that Mooney said, Gertie, did I really just do that? I'm so sorry.
You did it too. It's your character and you still did it.
Fish, flashbacks to I owe you these fingers.
Yeah.
That's just so the recording has it. I'm embarrassed. I'm feeling my face flushing.
It's okay. We've all done it.
Yeah, we've all done it many times. I very often do it privately in the comfort of my own head. I
Yeah,
almost
same.
wrote exclusively refer to Doji.
Same.
Because I have to, every time I'm writing it, I have to like say that to myself in a way. Yeah. Um. I should just also let the recording know that I keep getting distracted because my dad in the next room is watching an old horror movie he loves called Them, about giant ants, which very often makes sounds that go
Not picking
really
up.
The recording can't hear it.
Still not her if happening, honey.
High pitch noise is what I'm taking away from this.
extremely high
I can
pitched
hear
noise
it.
that I can hear and is not coming through on the recording. So I constantly like stop talking because there's a weird sound from the next room. That's it. Okay. You end up going to the airport in your rented car and flying to South Korea, I think, unless there's anything else we want to finish up on. Any reason to go into the ministry for May or what have you?
Are you, s-
You
You
muted
muted
yourself.
yourself.
are you saying that because there is potentially?
I
Yeah, it
don't know.
didn't even occur to me.
If
No.
you're like, if you're just like, I want to see what Frightening's up to or something, I want to have a scene with Frightening or
No.
something. Yeah. Um, then yeah, you all head to the airport and fly out. It is a decently long flight to South Korea, and uh, a little uncomfortable in some ways. Cal is either wearing a burqa or has changed into normie clothes.
I would say that she's in a burqa for all of the airport, and once they like have landed at the South Korean airport, she disappears to like freshen up, which I think probably May does too. But then she
Yeah.
emerges in a new look.
Yeah. Um, as you arrive in Seoul, seeing from the air, kind of like a lot of like wooden buildings going up really fast. Nothing here seems particularly old. A lot of it has been destroyed, but it seems to be like rebuilding pretty fast. And there's a lot of people. There's so many people here. Um, and as you're getting in, Fish remembers the instructions they were given. Try to track down Lady Inari's brother wherever he was and whatever he was doing here. And you've come to understand with your dad that, like, being able to be like, yes, I have a body that I'm sharing with somebody on Earth is kind of like a pretty strong power that your dad has by having this deep connection with humanity. It is actually pretty rare for a god to be able to do. So you're going to be hunting like kind of like influences and dreams rather than like the footsteps of a person, which is one of the reasons why it's so hard. But you were told to head to the pleasure district north of the city, and specifically to seek out a woman there named Hyunju, who will hopefully have information for you. And that's about the long and short of what you've got, which means that as you get there, Cal freshens up, and you're thinking about this. What does Cal look like when she comes out?
What is the weather and time of day when they land in Korea?
It'd be
Uh,
humid, wouldn't it? Humid and hot.
yeah, it'd be this time of year. The humidity would be kind of disappearing as it goes till nighttime. It'd kind of be like early evening, not quite. Yeah, I'd say it's almost sundown because you took a, a early plane, and it would have been most of the day because of the rotation. Yes, math. Yes, early evening. There's still some moisture in the air of like a very humid day now, cooling off. And Yeah, it's like a little bit of a breeze, a little bit of chill, but mostly it feels still a little bit muggy.
So Cal is in very like appropriate but like conservative 1950s clothes, like cotton blouse, probably with short sleeves if it was warm, belted skirt tight at the waist that goes probably about to her knees, cute sensible heels, no veil. She only has a hair scarf that's tied over her head. Yeah, just like the tiniest bit of like blonde from her hairline. I think you actually would see her like put on her sunglasses, realize it was almost evening, and then take off the sunglasses, and then like scramble in her bag and replace them with completely fake glasses.
Just to have some barrier between her face and the outside.
Exactly. And then like a nice, like neutral but nice lipstick. Very like light amount of makeup.
I know why we're asking about Cal's outfit, but just because we're talking about outfits, May's
Yeah.
wearing like all
Is May
cunty
changed too?
linens. Yeah,
Yeah.
May's in like linen trousers, linen like
Yeah.
long sleeve linen shirt to cover the tattoos because she's like not a good
Yeah.
look to have
It's Korea,
tattoos at this
yeah.
time. Yeah, and like I'm gonna say a hat, like to
Yeah.
try and cover the eyes, basically, kind of blend in a little bit.
I was thinking that like Cal has the practicality of like covering her hair not only for the conservative like veil equivalent, but hiding her hair as blonde because that would give her way too much attention. And I can
Yeah.
imagine May doing something similar because she's got a very light brown that would be not unheard of in Korea, but very
Unusual.
uncommon.
Yeah. She's giving like 50s businessmen inspired linen.
Hell yeah.
But she's looking cunty as hell.
Yeah.
Yep.
Does Fish freshen up or change outfits at all?
Sure. They're nice buttoned shirt. It is cuff to, collar to cuff, top to toe. Not a lot. No limbs to see here, folks. You guys think about the outfits, and I don't.
Okay.
That's a fine.
It's something I like to do.
Yes. Anyway, they see Kel unveiled and put the cigarette they were smoking out on their wrist.
Jesus Christ!
Grabs Cal's wrist. I'm like, what the fuck?
Dad,
Tekken was like, ow, Dad!
Dad, ow, Dad, stop.
I'm sorry, buddy. I forgot that hurt you.
It's pretty concerning, even if it didn't hurt me.
That's all I got.
Jesus.
Well, you are in a new city none of you have ever been to before, in a country none of you have ever been to before, trying to find a woman seemingly with just a first name in a district that you don't know. Good luck.
Woo!
Hooray.
I also want to say, I don't think it is definitely not a thing of being like, and now May just sees Cal without the veil anytime she visits. But it is definitely a thing of like, if it's a situation where it's more convenient or comfortable for her not to be in a veil, basically anytime they're probably in Cal's bedroom, especially any like bedtime, May sleeping over kind of thing, she's been unveiled. So May is not necessarily used to it as a common thing, but it has definitely happened, probably in the count on hand kind of range.
Yeah, I feel like they would be like, oh, okay, makes sense though. Like, no one knows her here. Like, why would you stand out? Yeah, she doesn't think too much of it.
And I think if May didn't put it together, Cal would have probably also explained, being like, my double's at the temple, which means no veiled necromancer should be running around Korea.
Yeah, exactly. May's also wearing like the cunty circular glasses that are like a colour tinge, so you can't make out that her eyes are gold.
Oh yeah.
Where are your cool glasses, Fish?
Vampton lenses, yes, no.
Sorry?
Vampton lenses, yes, no. One pink, one yellow.
Unfortunately, no, probably. I think that would defeat the purpose.
Fish
I'm
gets out their
disappointed.
sinner sunglasses just to be cool and match the girls.
Yeah.
There was one webcomic I used to read that had a character wearing glasses that had like the light shine on it, the anime light shine, anytime he was like holding his glasses. And then in canon they were like, oh, this is actually a screen that I have in here installed in my glasses. They do actually light up. I'm imagining May being like, yes. And then just for the
Yeah,
effect.
May looks.
Yeah. Yeah, Cal looks very normal, and that is very, like, deliberate. Like, it was her and Jamal, like, picking out and being like, for a foreigner in Korea, what is
Yes.
the most normal conservative outfit could you be wearing? But, I think being around total strangers unveiled is, like, not as bad for her, and May, as she started to get used to it, she definitely like tenses up and flinches more of like Fish looking at her, and I think she's so tense that she probably doesn't necessarily notice the cigarette thing, or if she picks up on it, she was like, I guess I briefly hallucinated.
Yeah, weird.
Yeah.
Well, it's up to you guys. This is the adventure starting. There's a lot of you know,
Can we keep going?
there's a lot
Is
of
that an
places.
option?
What?
Can we keep going? I thought we were wrapping up.
I just want you
We
to like
haven't-
decide what you're doing next. I think
Yeah,
we
okay.
are wrapping up for the evening, but if
Okay.
you're
Yeah.
like, I would like you to start down the path of figuring out kind of where you're going and who you're going to talk to.
Yeah,
Straight
with
to the
that.
pleasure district.
Yeah.
How do you get there since you don't know where it is? You just like get a taxi and you go,
yeah.
driver to the pleasure district. And then he goes, these fucking white people.
I think Cal might have
Sex tourism
seen.
in my country.
I think Cal might have seen the like sand ritual, and it's like when Fish is like, "Let's go," she would have put a hand on their shoulder and being like, "Please do the language thing first."
Oh yeah, no, of course. Okay. All right.
Maybe
Well,
do it, but
I'll-
it cost me 2 spell points, so I don't want to if I can help it.
May. Well, you see, for me it's free, so I'll go
Yeah,
around
it
the
just
back.
takes a while.
Let me get some dirt into my mouth.
Honestly, you just go into like there's like a little meditation garden off the airport that in the future will be like the smoking section when smoking is banned everywhere else.
Yeah.
And you're just like cool, right? It's just some dirt right in the middle of the airport. Take that.
Yep. Yeah. It's also
also
helpful to have Kekano near.
Mhm.
So, hold on. Pass him to me, Denia. Thank you.
Yeah. When Fish and Keknoko, I think Cal will look at May and like clear her throat, and she'll be like, "Does this look all right? Very normal, mortal, passable. Is it bad?"
Yes, of course. Cleric, you're dressed
I
far
knew it,
more
of course
normally
it's
than
bad.
I am at the moment. You're fine.
Yes, you are eager to stand out in a way I cannot understand. I just don't want anybody to. I don't want to bring attention. I just.
You explain yourself, cleric.
I've only ever really been out in Vale for very short trips to talk to town hall or something like that. It's not my favorite thing to do.
Well, look, worst comes to worst, it isn't out of fashion at the moment to have a headscarf and sunglasses. It's better than nothing.
Yes. No, that's why I'm wearing these. At least it feels like I'm got some sort of protection.
Well, you look lovely and nondescript, which is what I'm assuming was your aim from
Yeah.
how you're talking.
Yes. And I think at this point, May definitely knows that Callie's very hopeless at giving eye contact and is also like every emotion or expression is very clear on her face.
Yeah. May makes a note of that, and perhaps has the thought of like, I may have to keep an eye out for that if we're in situations where she needs to be keeping a straight face.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can I add, for character purposes, something that I did when I was younger, and
Yeah.
Ink, don't read into this for a potential diagnosis. Um, uh, Cal has
I
gotten
would
so
never.
Cal has gotten so used to the like, as long as my head is pointed the right direction, it doesn't really matter where my eyes are. So I'm used to like looking over people's shoulders or something like that. But now, you know, trying to make eye contact, people notice. Um, I think as part of going with the veil less, Cal has done what I did, which is read studies that showed that generally in conversation, people make eye contact for about 30% of the conversation. And so do what I did as a kid, which is be so obsessed with, am I making the right amount of eye contact? I've been making eye contact for too long. I need to move away. And then, okay, it's been long enough. Back to the eye contact that you're fully like dissociated from the conversation.
I do think she wouldn't do that to May. That's only when she's like talking to like city council people or
Yeah,
something like that.
strangers.
May she just knows she just can just not fucking do it, and May gets it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you're in a group of people, and it's like, oh fuck, you have to look them all in the eye at least one time,
Yeah.
preferably twice. And it's like, okay, I'm looking at you.
Preferably.
1, 2,
Yep, you count in your
3.
head.
Now you.
Hmm.
Yep.
But then you get into your head
I
about being like, of like, people will notice if I go just in a line each person. I gotta
Yep.
skip a person and then go back because that's more normal. Is thinking about that thing, those sort of things.
Yes. But also, if you're particularly obsessive, it has to be like an even amount of times that you've looked at everyone.
Hmm.
So you got
Oh,
to
of
keep
course.
track of what
No, you
order
don't.
it was.
You don't want to give favoritism with your gaze, so you do keep track. And sometimes, and this is a very clever hack child me had, who was very disturbed by eye contact. For me personally, it was too much because it was just like you're supposed to make eye contact, so I'd just be like, okay, and it's like too much. um,
I have that same thing where like I will make serious eye contact so hard that I just start full body trembling, but it's like I gotta keep doing it.
yeah. Yes. But here's the trick from young me, the secret trick, all right? If you look at somebody twice for 5 seconds, that's the equivalent of looking at somebody else for 10 seconds. So you actually can do an uneven number of times as long as you do an even amount. And therefore, nobody's feelings get hurt. And it's actually even. And it seems more normal to have an uneven amount of gaze at different people. And when you're talking to strangers, especially strange adults, they are in fact analyzing every time you look at every single person and counting to themselves how much you're doing it, so they know if you're appropriate or not.
Yeah, they're all keeping track.
Yeah. Anyway. Anyway, yeah. Fish comes back, able to understand, and I think read Korean street signs, if I remember that
Yes,
spell correctly. And
but not speak.
yeah, but not speak it. And yeah, come back. Honestly, by just like hanging around people in the airport in this kind of waiting area while doing your ritual, you probably learned that because of the war, speaking English is decently common here. Definitely, you know, this is going to be helpful for navigating, for seeing when people are talking shit about you and what have you. But you know, you can get by with just English. Yeah, you head out. Now that you're no longer burning yourself, Kekino comes up to Cal and goes,
Craziness, can I tell you a secret?
Yes, go
No.
ahead.
No, can I tell you a secret?
Sure.
Lift me
Okay.
up so I can tell you a secret. No,
Picks up.
I know you feel weird about how you look, but I think you look very nice.
Full nose scrunch that I just did, and then she goes, thank you.
You look really, really nice.
Yeah, thank you.
May, you also look nice. He
Yeah,
says
you do
out
look
loud
nice.
at
Doffs the hat.
everybody, immediately violating the secrecy of what he was talking about.
You do look nice. I do like the linen. It's appropriate.
It also covers me up. Tattoos aren't exactly in vogue at the moment in this part of the world. Maybe one day I'll get some sort of illusion charm that, high priorities and all that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Meet
but
up
you
with
can't
the.
go wrong with just a bit of with just a swipe of cream.
Is Fish wearing concealer?
Yep.
I need to take it off. I look too much. I look too much like them. The other me.
Look, it's just so they don't get fucking shot down in the street. That's all.
I mean, I honestly, it's just like nasty looks kind of thing.
Yeah.
Especially like Seoul itself kind of had this thing about being like, well, tattoos are okay if you're not Korean, just because they had, a lot of sailors coming in, a lot of soldiers who were tattooed and stuff like that, of being like, it kind of bounced back a little bit where it was appropriate for non-Koreans, and then it kind of like became less appropriate again. Um, but yeah, you're wearing concealer, looking awful. You can if you meet up with Miss Cole, her illusion tattoos that she has. Maybe you can get one of those, just a symbol tattoo in an inconspicuous place so that you activate and hides the rest of the tattoos. That could be good. And yeah, you're just following the crowds out of the airport, seeing the taxi stand.
Street signs, maps, anywhere that's going to be like, go here. For,
Give me an investigation check.
May is like, I think we should just ask them where the sexy women are. That usually works.
Do you have a lot of experience with this, May? Coming to a
Well,
new city and going, where are the sexy women?
May has a lot of experience of dealing with taxi drivers, and that's typically the first, one of the 5 questions that tourists want.
Yeah.
In her experience.
Where are the prostitutes? What is the easiest way to get cocaine?
It was 12.
Okay, 12. You're looking at the signage here. It seems like there is really this core downtown that you're fairly close to, and spreading out around it are different historical neighborhoods that technically have their own names, but are also considered part of Seoul. You know that it was the pleasure district in the north, is what you were told. So you're kind of looking at the northern neighborhoods, and you can see okay, this is this neighborhood, and this neighborhood are all kind of generally in the right area. I don't think a 12 fully gets you there, but you definitely know if the taxi driver starts driving in the wrong direction, being like, okay, well, he's gonna beat and rob us.
Yeah.
Because I know generally where we're going.
Ladies, we're about to be killed.
May's got her guns under her linen jacket, so she's ready.
Cal still has a knife. The skirt has room still for a knife, I'm afraid.
Fish thinks about how they could have had their sword in oversized luggage, but no, it's not to be.
Okay, so it is still listed in their inventory. But in and so it goes, Fish's new sword, in parentheses, unobtainable. It has the stats of it, and then they don't have it anymore, but let me mourn.
Yeah. Yeah, you head out. You're gonna catch a taxi?
Yep.
All right. Pile all in. One of you kind of in the front seat, 2 in the back. And you give directions to just the pleasure district. I would like 2 of you to give me a persuasion check.
My persuasion at the moment. +2. Anyone? I know Fish should have higher. What's Cal's persuasion?
I'm just preparing my roll.
Mine is +2, though I can do my ability to switch it over because it's a new day.
Yeah, that's up to you. But remember that if you want to be like, if you want to be like, oh, we're going to investigate or something, you may want investigation or an arcana or whatever.
Why not? We'll try it.
Okay, sounds good.
Okay.
So what does that get you
Alright.
to? A +3,
A +5.
+5. All right.
Dang.
She has one.
Alright, we
She's
rolling?
using white privilege.
Yep.
Okay, well, good. That was 11, so...
Okay, mine was the 10. So
Okay.
about the same.
Um. Both of you realize, or rather, Fish, having looked at the map, realizes you are going in the right direction. You're going to the right place. Everything's good. You are definitely getting overcharged. The uh, 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 taxis at this point, like some of them had, the fare readers, but in Korea, it's just kind of like this is a car with a sign on it. So the amount he quoted you is a little bit higher than it should be. You're very clearly paying the white tax,
For him.
but. Yeah, overall, not a lot of problems. You don't with the with those rolls. He doesn't take you to like right where you need to go. He kind of drops you at the edge of the district of being just like well, my chance of getting mugged is a lot higher here. So good luck. And dropping you off. But yes, you are now in the pleasure district.
Did we bring all of our like bags and suitcases with us?
We got a place.
I assume you have your suitcases and things, unless you want to like stop at a hotel, drop them off.
Okay, so that's a good question. Cal would absolutely would have stopped to talk about.
We are getting a place at the pleasure district.
Okay.
Not a bad idea.
Get
Not a
a
bad
love
idea,
hotel.
I think they only rent by the hour, though.
We not get like a hostel or something? Not a hostel.
Give me
like an inn or something.
Give me an investigation check, and I will say
with advantage because we're all looking.
I would say give me an investigation check with advantage because the language barrier is offset by Fish being able to speak it. So
yeah, a 10.
Yeah.
Korea is not friendly to our dice.
That was with advantage?
Yeah.
You do find a hotel that actually gets recommended to you by the taxi driver when you ask about
so
it.
they're overcharging us as well.
Yeah. At first, the proprietor is confused because you do come in, and it's not like technically in the pleasure district, but it is like 2 streets away. The proprietor is a little confused when you come in and was like, "Yeah, I'd want to stay here," and it's like, "Okay, cool. How many hours? How many girls?" And then it's like, "No, we want to stay here as a hotel." And it's like, "Oh."
Fish is like, you can clearly see there are 2.
Oh, you're together. I see. Tries to offer you a room with only 1 bed. You refuse, and get 2 or 3 rooms.
May like happy to share a bed with Cal if she is. She just, May doesn't care. Like
Cal, I think upon realizing the nature of this hotel, curses both the taxi driver and Fish, it's not their fault, but she still curses them in her mind, and is like, "May, don't you dare leave me, May."
Mm-hmm.
We have to be connected at all times.
Okay.
I'm not doing anywhere, cleric.
are probably overpaying because it's basically the hourly rate stretched to 24 hours. But it is at least a pretty decent place. It seems clean. It seems bug free for the most part. Not terrible. Could be a lot worse. And yeah, you can drop off your stuff and go exploring. It is the pleasure district is opening just about
I was
now.
going to
So
say, May is absolutely going to ask Cal to like arcane lock or whatever it is that Cal does. her
Yeah.
bag.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Do our shadow wards on everybody's stuff.
Yeah, arcane lock is a fish on the doors.
Yeah.
Yeah.
although you can only have one lock at a time, so whose door do you lock?
The ladies
I mean-
is because there's more shit in there.
Fish is like, oh, you broke into my hotel room.
Yeah.
What are you gonna do to me?
What are you gonna
Maybe
do
they
to
should
me?
also-
Where you close at?
Maybe they should all put their bags in the girls' room then, if they're going to
Yeah.
lock.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sure.
Okay.
Um,
Then you head out into the night, and I think that's where we need to close.
I was gonna say,
Yeah.
my food is here.
Yeah, that's where we need to close for the evening. Tomorrow it is setting out into a land of gambling parlors and houses of pleasure, and hopefully finding somewhere along the way your contact, Hyunju.
Look
All
out,
right.
Hyunju.
Yeah,
They're coming.
they're coming.
Oh Lord, they're coming.
All right, let's stop.